How about that one? You idiot. Thanks, guys. I will start again. I was sitting there. That was a practice run, talking to myself. I forgot to unmute the microphone. What a diddly donk. Dear, oh dear. I've unmuted it now. Good morning. I'll start again. Good morning. Hope you're all enjoying your Australia Day long weekend. So I'm not going to go back and say what I just said. I just saying g'day to everyone. Jason and Ray Muller are on. Jason Logan, buddy, Steve and Annie from Soar Adventures. I was just talking about how Steve was doing something out of the ordinary. I think they were doing nudie runs around the dam, everyone. So Mark said 5v5s. It's amazing what happens when you unmute your microphone. I do that. I don't know why I do that. I'll probably stop doing it because that's a couple of times I've done that. Loud and clear now. Good stuff. Hope you're all enjoying your weekend. Going to do one day. Good morning to you. Who else? Lewis Kudlak over in West Aussie. I told Lukey Reed to give me a comms check down there in Tasmania. Gary Phillips. Yep, we got sound now, mate. We're all good. Thanks for letting me know. Jenny Cameron. The great Ramondo. One of the best names. Hey, Ray, how are you, mate? Pete McMurtry down in Townsville. Lukey Reed saying g'day to Steve and Annie, who are out camping at the moment, everyone. They finally got out camping after about 2.5 months. We know Steve and Annie love their camping. So they're sitting out there having breakfast in a beautiful country spot out near their Kingaroy. And they're sitting around a nice little dam. So what else? Who else we got here? Ty Fenwick. G'day, Ty. How are you? Waiting for me to go right off. Yeah, I've got a what pisses me off segment later on. Everyone, I've got a couple of things there. One's a minor thing. The other one's pretty serious, and we're going to be talking about that a bit later. We got a lot to cover this morning, everyone. Once again, the news is full of stuff, isn't it? And it's not all good news. It's not really good news. Guys, if you got kids on this morning, I'm going to keep the swearing down. I'll try and not swear this morning, but it's not really a kid-friendly one this morning. We're going to be talking about some pretty horrible subjects, animal attacks and people being shot and all that, guys. It's more of it's not really one for the kids this morning. So if you've got young kids watching, you probably want to throw them on the iPad and get them watching Bluey or something, because I haven't got a lot of positive stuff. We've got a bit of funny stuff later on, right at the end there, to go through. But most of this stuff's about stuff in the news that's pissing me off. And I think it needs to be talked about, everyone. Won't be doing polls today, everyone, because I've got to switch between – I'm on StreamYard, so I can show you a bit of some little videos and stuff like that. And it's just a pain in the ass going back and forward between screens trying to do polls. So no polls this morning. You can let me know what you reckon in the comments. I've got the comments on slow mode again, everyone. So if you're wondering why you can't bloody type 10 things in there, it's because I've got it set on slow mode. So you can only type one thing every 60 seconds. Okay. So it just doesn't, everyone gets a chance to read the comment section. Gypsy Joker. Gypsy, we're going to talk about that soon, mate. The downfall of Australia is people's fault for continually voting for the two main political parties. They somehow think just because the leader changes, the party changes the agenda. Yeah, I know. I agree, mate, and we're going to be talking about that soon. There's another party on the rise, aren't they? And they wear orange, everyone, and they've overtaken the Liberal Party. We're going to talk about that soon. All I can hear is the cat meowing outside the door. Crew, shut up. She does. As soon as she opens her eyes in the morning, she just annoys us. Meow, meow, feed me. Meow, meow, let me out. Meow, meow, let me back up on the bed. It just non-stop. She drives Ross mad. And she drives Rafa mad too. Even Rafa looks at her and goes, shut up, woman, will ya? For goodness sake. Wollongong, same ocean. Hi all, road trip to Albury. Bloody hot day ahead here. We're going to do the weather soon. Wollongong, same ocean. Thanks for tuning in. We've got some ridiculously hot weather coming up down in New South Wales, country Victoria, like really, really bad, catastrophic fire type weather. everyone. Let's hope the bushfires don't flare up again. We're talking temperatures up around 50 degrees Celsius, 46s, 48s. That is bullshit hot, isn't it? It doesn't matter where you are. That is ridiculous. It's been hot up here, everyone, but low 30s, but the humidity's kicking in now, nearly February. February, March is putrid up here with the humidity, and that's what drains energy, the humidity. But doesn't matter where you are, whether there's humidity or not, 50 degrees is ridiculous. Like, that's just bullshit, isn't it? I know Marble Bar is the hottest place in Australia, everyone. They had 100 days consecutive over 45, which is very, very hot. I've been in 42s, and that just zaps you. That is hot. 42's hot in Perth. We used to get 42s all the time there. A couple of weeks of the year, you get up to 42s. But when it's getting up 48 and that's almost unbearable heat, isn't it? There's a thing on Facebook. I think I might have put it on Facebook, actually. It had the Earth, Australia, and then the sun. So it had Australia between the sun and Earth. And apparently at the moment, Australia is the hottest place on Earth. It's even hotter than Saudi Arabia and all those places. Yeah. Gypsy Joker, it's like the king of one of the Arab countries told a journalist why they don't want democracy. His exact words were, democracy doesn't work because the people are retarded. Oh, dear. Yeah, anyway, I wouldn't like to be living in one of them Arab countries. I don't think they can bloody go throwing stones, everyone. They got some pretty shit stuff. They still chop people's hands off in Saudi Arabia for stealing. I'm not for stealing, everyone, but when you're chopping people's hands off, that's going a bit overboard, isn't it? I don't think I'd like our country to become like that. Bloody hell. That's a bit barbaric. That's shit that they did back in the 1600s and that. Hope you all got, Gary, hope you all got a coffee and hope you're all tuning in. I'll give it, 9:03. So everyone should be on now. I don't know how many's on. 74. We'll do the weather report, eh? Slacken just sent me a message. I'll be on your live feed tonight. Well, tomorrow morning for you, Saturday night over there. I'm watching it on the TV. I can't see the chat room or comment, but I will. It's an essay, everyone. Slacken doesn't do short messages. It is a dead set essay. Have a look at that. That's what I get from Slacken all the time. You got to make a brew and sit down and put half hour aside to read a message of him. Oh dear. Anyway, Mark and Julie, if you're watching, I don't think Julie will be watching. Mark is watching on the TV. Thanks for tuning in, mate. We're about to do the weather report. This is absolutely riveting stuff, the weather report. Let's get into Living Earth, which is that app there. I like that app. It's called Living Earth. It used to be free. Apparently you got to pay for it now. I don't pay for it. It's free. So anyway, Innisfail, far north Queensland, where I am at the moment, it is 9 o'clock, 9:04 actually, on Sunday morning, the 25th of January, the day before Australia Day, everyone. So the Australia Day long weekend down here, Mark. And don't know, we'll have a look soon and see if John and bloody Mike Blakely are on. No, can't see him there. They'll probably come on a bit later, maybe. Might be too early for them. So Innisfail, 9:05 in the morning. It is currently rainy here at the moment. Like, we had heavy rain overnight, so it's overcast, which is good. Grey skies and drizzly. It's keeping it a bit cooler, everyone. It's been bloody hot up here. Very muggy. Cloudy, rainy, and 26 degrees. Only a high of 27 today. So the good thing about the rain, it keeps it a little bit cooler for us. But once the sun comes out and hits the ground, it gets steamy, let me tell you. It gets real steamy. Sometimes you walk out of the bloody house and the humidity hits you and, oh boy, you just sweat all the time. So not a bad day today, drizzly and rainy, but at least it's a bit cooler for us, okay? High of 27 Celsius, obviously. Slacking up in Toronto, everyone. It is 6:05 Saturday night over there. It's 6 p.m. Up in Toronto, Canada. It's currently -11. You can have that, Mark. I'll have me humidity. Thanks. Minus 11 currently in Toronto. It's going to a lot. We don't even think about temperatures like this. We get to minus 4 or 5 at the worst in winter. Not here, down in our coldest parts of the country. A low of minus 21. We're talking Celsius now, guys. A low of minus 21, and it getting to a steamy high of minus 9. There it is. I'm not bullshitting you. There it is, Toronto. Minus 21 to minus 9. How do you live in that shit, Mark? Honestly, how do you live in that? It's just gone dark. See the earth there, and you can see Toronto. It's dark over there now. Shadow over Toronto, so it kind of tells you where the sun is. So there you go, Mark. I hope you're under a nice big woolly doona or something. Got the heater on. Cuddled up the cricket, the cat. Busselton, over in Western Australia, where my daughter lives, everyone. Busselton, Western Australia, 2.5 hours south of Perth. 7:07 Sunday morning there, 7 o'clock Sunday morning. And Busselton, tap to show Busselton. Well, there you go. Busselton hasn't got any temperatures at the moment. I haven't seen that before. Didn't come up with a temperature. Denver, Colorado. Mike Blakely, speaking of Denver Broncos have got one game to go to get into the Super Bowl, everyone. Denver Broncos are taking on the New England Patriots in the AFC. 32 teams, they're split into two. The AFC, so you've got the Denver Broncos taking on the Patriots this weekend. And then in the NFC, my team, the 49ers, are in the NFC. The Los Angeles Rams are playing, and I knew I would forget it. Oh, the Seattle Seahawks. So the winner of those two games goes on and plays in the Super Bowl. I'm tipping a Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl. But I like to see Mike Blakely's Denver Broncos get in there, everyone. Yeah, so Denver's very cold too. It's minus 7 there at the moment. Lower minus 15 and a higher minus 8. Mike, I hope you're bloody staying warm too, mate. So Denver's not much better than Toronto, everyone. Denver, Colorado. Boy, oh boy. Steve Wilkes in Ensenada, Mexico, everyone. It's 3:08 p.m. Saturday over there. So it's 3 o'clock Saturday, yesterday afternoon in Mexico on the west side of North America, and which is where Ensenada is, down below the California border there. 15 degrees. Lower of 11 and a high of 18. That's reasonable. It's not too bad for wintertime, is it? Ensenada, Mexico. John and Dana are up there in Portland, Oregon. John doesn't live too far from Portland. He's not in Portland, but it is sunny and 7 degrees in Portland on the northwest coast in Oregon, USA. 7 degrees, a lower minus 1 and a higher 7. That's like Tasmania temperatures in wintertime, isn't it? Like, it's not, we have places in Australia that's certainly better than what Mike and Slacken are experiencing, everyone. Phil Weber over the ditch in Auckland, New Zealand, everyone. Rainy showers, 19 degrees in Auckland at the moment, and it's already Sunday afternoon in New Zealand. New Zealand is 3 hours ahead of Queensland. 4 hours ahead of, no, they're 2 hours ahead of down south, everyone. So it's 12:10 p.m., 12 midday at bloody on Sunday in Auckland. 19 degrees, lower 16, higher 21. So New Zealand certainly doesn't get as hot as what Australia does in summer. Melbourne, Victoria, it's 10. It's an hour ahead of us. So they're 10 in Melbourne, 19 degrees and overcast down in Melbourne at the moment. If you're watching from down there, lower 17, higher 23. Melbourne's one of those things where it's either one day it'll be 19 and the next day it'll be 40. Like, it's just ridiculous. Australian Open tennis is on at the moment, and they always experience a couple of days during the tennis of those real scorching hot days. There's hot weather coming, so hang on, everyone, down there. Sydney, same again, 10, 11. Hour ahead of us. Sunny and 24 in Sydney, lower 19 and a higher 39. So there you go. Sydney's getting a hot day today, 39 degrees in Sydney. If you're down there, yeah, that hot weather's coming in down in the southern part of southeast of Australia. There's some hot weather coming in, and some places are going to get to 48 degrees. Launceston, Lukey Reid. Oh, wow, look at this. Launceston in northern Tasmania, sunny and 22 degrees at the moment. Lukey, get out, rip the shirt off, throw the baby oil on, mate, and get a suntan. 22 degrees. They've got a high of 27 and a low of 12. So still pretty chilly in the morning, but getting up to 27 degrees, Lukey. How good's that? And sunny, mate. Get out and make the most of that down in Tassie. Beautiful weather. Adelaide. Adelaide's 9:42. So they're half hour ahead of Queensland down in South Australia. Adelaide, it's currently sunny and 25 degrees, up to 36 today in Adelaide, lower 17. So, yeah, hot day in Adelaide today. Showed on the news, everyone jumping off the jetties and that down at Glenelg Beach or something, is it? And whatever. Yeah, let's go. Watch out for the great white sharks down there when you're jumping off the jetties, everyone. They've had a few great white scares jumping off the jetties in South Australia. It's like a big dark shadow appears and everyone's out, because if you see a shark down there, there's a fair chance she's a big great white. Darwin, Northern Territory, everyone. It's 8:42 in the morning. So it's, see, South Australia's ahead and Darwin's half hour behind us, South Australia. Darwin doesn't have, they're on Central Australian time. Northern Territory's like Queensland. We don't change our time. We just stay on the same time all year. They're on Central Australia time, 8:43 in the morning, Sunday morning. Darwin's currently 29 degrees. They're going up to 32, lower 27. Similar to up here, guys. We normally don't get the big, massive high temperatures like they do down south, but our minimums are a lot higher. So we get a lot hotter minimums. We get the humidity. When Darwin gets to 34, it's unbearable up there. Like the humidity in Darwin's even worse than what it is here in far north Queensland. So the further north you get, the more humid you get. So, yeah, there you go. The humidity kills you. Really does. Perth, 7:13 in the morning. Bit same at Busselton, 20 degrees in Perth. Brisbane, all the Brizzy guys that are on watching. Who's in Brizzy down there? Mainly sunny, 28 degrees at the moment. Same as up here, Brisbane, capital of Queensland. We don't change our time. 9:14, 28. Brizzy's going to a high of 34, so it should be a bit steamy in Brisbane today. Brizzy gets quite humid, lower 21. Not a bad day in Brizzy. Got a warm one coming up. And we're back to my place. London, Scruffy Bollocks, Steve W., Andy Riches. London, rainy or rain showers, 7 degrees in London at the moment. It's 11:14 last night, so 45 minutes to midnight. A low of 7, a high of 10. So London's nowhere near as cold as Denver and Toronto, everyone. So, yeah, there you go. G'day to all the guys up there in the mother country. And we're back to there. So there's the weather report for Sunday, the 25th of January. How quick's the year going, everyone? Let's get into some Tracy Lindenberg. Good morning. HSV's on again. Baby oil. Yeah, remember them days. I wonder why we got skin cancer. We get out and rub the baby oil on in the 80s. No sunscreen, baby oil. And then 30 years later, you get skin cancers cut out. Oh, dear. If only we knew back then, mate, eh? If only we were sun smart back then when I was playing cricket as a kid. No wide brim hat, just a cap. No sunscreen, short sleeve shirt. Come back, your arms would be red raw. Your nose would be like a beetroot. Standing out in the sun all day. You know, if only we had that nice big long sleeve white shirts and, you know, we weren't sun smart back in my day, everyone, which is why I've had literally thousands. Which way do I go? All these white, they are where my doctor just frozen with the liquid nitrogen, held it on too long, guys. If you ever seen all these white marks, I've had thousands frozen off over the years, But those ones there, he killed the pigmentation in my skin. He held the liquid nitrogen on too long, and he's just killed all the pigmentation I've got in my skin. I had 33 frozen off one arm one day in one hit. 33 just on one arm. My back, I've had heaps. I don't know if you ever seen close up. All these scars here around my eyes, guys, they're all where I've had skin cancers cut out. I've had a heap cut out of the corners of my eyes. I've had a massive one cut out the side of my head. They're going to do radiation on that one. So, yeah, I've got terrible skin. Jeff Keane, g'day, Jeffrey. How are you, mate? Anthony Wixie's on. Gonna do one day. I'm 65 today. Let's give Gonna do one day a bloody birthday cake or a thumbs up or a happy birthday in the comments, everyone. Gonna do one day, 65 today. Good stuff. A boomer, a baby boomer. Gonna do one day, happy birthday. So let's give Gunner a bloody couple of thumbs up. Jennifer G's in down in Bowen there. Jace, I already said g'day to Jace. Who else we got on? Gary Phillips again. There we go. Gary's put a birthday cake up for Gonna do one day. Russ Longson's on from the Townsville Chiefs, and Russ didn't score in overtime today. He's not watching from work. He's watching from home. Russ normally sits there getting double time watching Mr. Buckaroony on a Sunday morning at the prison. How good's that? On overtime, getting double time watching Mr. Buckaroony on YouTube. How good is that, Russ? What other job could you possibly do that in? It's a dead set joke. Sometimes the prison job, guys, sometimes was ass puckering stuff. Like it was not a pleasant job. But there were times there where you just think, I don't believe I'm getting paid to do this shit. Like it could be a very boring job at sometimes. Yeah. Better than Macca on a Sunday morning, Russ reckons. So there you go. Anyway, let's get into it, everyone. I've done some shout-outs. Thanks for joining in. And as I said, we're going to talk about Australia Day soon. I'm sure there's going to be stuff I forget to talk about this morning. The weather report, I've done that. How exciting was the weather report, everyone? Let me know. Do you want me to still do the weather report? It's riveting, isn't it? But I reckon it's good. We got Slacken. We got all the guys that watch the channel from all around the world. I think it's good to do a weather report and work out what's going on. Lukey Reed down in, I've added a few. Last night I added like Launceston on. I added the capital cities of Australia and all that. I added on Auckland for Phil Weber. Yeah, so there you go. Now, listen, some bad news, everyone. Let's get into some. Now, this is where we start getting a bit serious now. Phil Taylor, g'day, mate. How are you? Phil Taylor giving thumbs up to Gonna do one day. Hope you're good. Phil and Katrina down there. How's the bloody house coming along, mate? The what are they called? When you got two of them? Duplex. Hope that's going well. If you got one of those spare pools, Phil, send it up, will you? I reckon I could go a pool. I was sitting there the other day thinking, shit, I could go a pool about now. It was hot as buggery. I thought, geez, I wish I had a pool. And then I got on the internet and looked at the price of them. I thought, stick it up your ass. I'll just get under the hose. And that's what I did the other day. Ripped my shirt off and just stood there and put the hose over me. It was hot. It was stinking hot. I was sweating like a bloody pig. I just went in. Me and Rafa was really feeling the heat. So I just let the hose run a while up here, because when you first turn it on, the water, you could just about make a bloody cup of tea out of it. So you got to let the cold water come through. Don't put it straight on. And then once the cool water starts coming out, I gave Rafa a cool off, and then I just got under it myself. So that was my swimming pool, the old garden hose. Chrissy's on. Chrissy Burns. G'day, Chrissy. Chrissy and Jeff. Hope yous are both well. Andrew Sibley. G'day, Andrew. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. Susie Ellum. A few people snuck on while I was bloody talking there. Pete McMurtry saying happy birthday to Gonna do one day. Phil Tate. Plunger pools came down from Brisbane. Yeah. Plungy pools. Yeah, it'd be good. You can get the above ground plunge pools, but then you got to climb up into the bastards. So, but getting holes dug in your backyard and all that, it's just the cost of everything now to get anything done Me and Roz are getting some quotes done at the moment on getting some stuff fixed around the house, guys. They're like, we live in an old house, and, you know, when things get old, you've got to start replacing shit. You know, a bit of wood rotting here and gutters are starting to rust and all that. And I'm just dreading the quotes coming through because you just know you're going to get ripped off. Absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of which, I'm up for some more money on the BT50, everyone. I've been towing the caravan back from Cairns last year and a bad vibration started coming up through the snorkel. Anyway, long story short, I thought there was something wrong, something stuck in the snorkel, something loose, blah, blah, blah. And then it got to the stage where, oh, your turbo might be on the way out, mate. And I got a quote for a new Garrett turbo, $5,000 fitted. And I'm just thinking, nah, I'm going to put a match down its fuel tank. So anyway, my mechanic, Matthew at MLC Motors, Matthew said, bring it in. I want to go for a drive. He said, can you hook the caravan up so it does that vibrate? Because it was doing it when I was towing more than anything. I said, oh, I'll just put the garden trailer on, see if I can get it to do with that. Because hooking the caravan up, I've got to get it out into the front yard before I can hook it up and use the caravan mover. It's a pain in the ass. Anyway, Matthew came for a drive and it did it. It made the noise. Usually when the mechanics get in, it doesn't make the noise. Anyway, he felt the vibration and he goes, mate, I've got good news for you. He goes, that's not a turbo thing. He said, that's something loose. I can feel it coming through the firewall. And he could hear, and it was resonating up the snorkel and woo, 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 woo. And I thought there was something wrong with the snorkel. I went back to the bloke who installed the snorkel when I first got the BT50 and he couldn't find anything. He said, no, there's no baffles or anything in there. I don't know what it could be. He took the air filter box and everything was tight. Anyway, Matthew said, I can hear that vibration. There's something definitely vibrating front right. Bring it in tomorrow morning, 8:30. We'll put her on the hoist. Anyway, he got under there, looked around. He thought it might have been a exhaust pipe mount that was vibrating. No, wasn't that. They got the big breaker bar. One of the engine blocks, one of the big rubber engine blocks is cracked right through. And when I get to a certain speed, it starts vibrating and it just vibrates up the snorkel through the airbox and all that. He said, there's your problem, mate. He said, you've got a cracked engine mount, which is just a big hard block of rubber. And when he went like that with the breaker bar, you could see it's cracked right through. So he said, that's where your vibration's coming from. So it's not as bad as what we thought. However, to replace the engine block, he can't get the BT until the 5th of February. But is there any mechanics on? How many hours of labour is that going to be? Like, you go about $100 an hour for a mechanic at least. And if it's a 5-hour job, it's going to be more money. I just paid $510 because a gecko blew my fridge up in the caravan, bloody thing, shorted out the circuit board and stuffed up the whole power module in the caravan. So watching the old money just doing one of them out to tradies at the moment, Phil, and then we're getting bloody repairs done on the house. It never stops, mate. It never stops. So anyway, some bad news, and I'm going to this one on the news. I hope you can see that, everyone. I'll keep it small so I can still see your pools are a money pit. Yeah, Gidgey had a pool when he owned a house in Townsville, and he had to replace the pool filter twice. It blew up, and it was like $2,000 a pot every time it blew up. Like it was like he's always forking out, you know, for pool salt and getting it cleaned, and it's just getting it tested. And yeah, they are. They're a bloody money pit pools. They really are. The old hose over the head's a bit cheaper. Not as much fun. Yeah, Mark Lavelle said, get a Clark rubber pool and go for broke. Mate, you get those, a lot of those pools here, mate, they'd be gone into those above ground pools. They last about 5 years maximum up here in the sun. You'd have to build a shade over the top of them, post concrete. Like, it's just a lot of money, mate. Gary Phillips saying, I used to be a mechanic in a previous life. I wish Brad Howell was on. Brad used to own a BT50. He'd know how much a bloody engine mount. It's just going to be awkward to get to, I think, for them. They've got to kind of unbolt the engine, lift the engine up somehow to get the new mount in. And I'm going to ask Matthew, well, if one's gone, what about the other one? We should maybe do both at the same time while we're doing it. So anyway, there you go, everyone. And I wrote down the name of this place because it's a Kiwi name, Mount Maunganui or something. Mount Maunganui, I might have pronounced that right. Is Phil Webber on or any Kiwis out? That is right up the North Island of New Zealand, everyone. There was a landslide there the other day. And at the base of that, they showed an aerial shot. It's beautiful. Beaches, it's just a big knoll. And then that's the ocean behind there. And at the base of that was a caravan park. Yes, Phil McCavity, I am. I haven't touched the piss for 25 days. I have not touched a drop of alcohol for 25 days, everyone. I am still off the piss, mate. Cooking a barbecue tomorrow on Australia Day is going to test me. But no, mate, I'm staunch. I'm not touching it for 6 months. I'm serious on that. I just want to prove something to myself. So, yeah, I'm off the piss, and I will be for 6 months. So if you run into me between now and July, everyone, don't ask me to have a beer with you because it won't be happening. Bella Jess, g'day. Mount Maunganui, or however you say that, a landslide, everyone, and 2 dead and 6 missing. I haven't seen an update on this. Bloody terrible. Can you imagine just being at the base of that in your caravan and next thing you just hear a horrible noise? Someone got video of it letting go. It was scary. It was scary. And I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of landslides lately around the world. And another one just happened, I think the day after the New Zealand one, in Indonesia, everyone. And there's, where I wrote the Indonesian one down, 7 dead and 82 missing in Indonesia, in the landslide up in Indonesia. Absolutely terrible. A couple of years ago, a whole village up in Papua New Guinea in the highlands, I don't know how many were killed in that. A whole village went. They built a village at the base of a mountain because it's all mountainous up there. Side of the mountain let go, whole village gone. That was massive. I saw a footage, an aeroplane flew over it and showed that landslide. It was bad. It was way worse than that one. Dear oh dear. Just north of Townsville, guys, a place called Frosty Mango. After Cyclone Jasper, a couple of years ago, dumped all that rain on North Queensland. Sides of the mountain there, north of Frosty Mango, when you're driving on the Bruce Highway, there's just whole sides of the mountains have let go from landslides because of the amount of rain we got. And Mount Spec Road up to Paluma is still closed. It just got washed away. Palmerston Highway here got washed away in a landslide during Cyclone Jasper. So bloody landslides. It's not something we think about. But so anyway, condolences to the people in New Zealand there. Let's hope when 6 are missing, it's not good. When people are missing, it usually ends up bad, doesn't it? Let's hope those 6 missing had gone for a day trip somewhere and weren't in the caravan park at the time. So keep your eye on that. Mount Maunganui, I think is how you say that. 2 dead, 6 missing last time I heard. And the one up in Indonesia was bloody terrible. 7 dead and 82 missing. Dear oh dear, that was probably one of those. It's always those poor buggers, you know, the village people that are doing it tough, you know, not poor people. And this stuff happens to them. It happens all the time. It's bloody, absolutely terrible. So now let's get on to another bloody subject that's been control on the news in the last week or so in Australia. And the Americans will probably be sitting back going, I'm never going to Australia on a holiday. Jeff Keane reckons 240 to 600 to replace the engine mounts. Yeah, I will hopefully. No, me, it'll be about 600. So anyway, I just want it fixed, mate, because we're towing the caravan back from Cairns the other day when we had to get the power module fixed at a fridge place. He replaced the whole power module, $500 later, and it was doing a bad. And Roz said, we can't drive to Roma like this. I said, I know. I need to get this sorted. We didn't know what it was. It looks like now it's an engine mount. So if we can get that fixed, we're back in action. The caravan's good to go now. Everything's working in the caravan. It's just the BT50 had me worried. I didn't know what that noise was coming out of the snorkel. Didn't know if I was up for a new turbo. We'll get the engine mount done. I'll hook the trailer up, go for a drive, and I'm pretty sure my mechanic said, mate, I'm 98% sure this is your problem that's causing that bad noise, and we'll be good to go then. Get ready for camping season. Bring it on. Nathan Schilling, that's why we haven't committed anything to Roma yet, mate. We've had car problems, and I need to get it sorted out before we make any commitments and all that type of stuff. So anyway, animal attacks in Australia. The Yanks are going. They always go on about never going to Australia. Everything wants to kill you down there. Well, it does. 4 shark attacks in New South Wales, everyone, in the space of, was it 3 days? And the young boy, and his name was Nico Antic. He was from a Yugoslavian sort of heritage. Young Nico, little young 11 or 12-year-old boy, was jumping off the rocks there in Sydney Harbour and got nailed by a bull shark. Horrific injuries. Anyway, he's passed away, everyone. So those shark attacks, one of them was fatal, and it was a young boy. You know, just a young lad out enjoying life, jumping off some rocks into the water. We've all done it. People on there going, that's what happens when you go into the sharks' territory. That pisses me off. That's another thing that pisses me off, guys, is these friggin' idiots that go, oh, you're in their territory now. Well, no one deserves to be eaten by a shark, everyone, especially an 11-year-old boy. Come on. That's what it was good to see. He was out with his mates, and his young mate swam out and dragged him back into safety, knowing there was a shark in there. He deserves a bravery medal, that young lad. Bloody terrible thing to happen. Spare a thought for the parents. Mum and Dad, we're going down with me mates and we're going to jump off the rocks. You know, probably done it a million times. Next thing you know, your kid's in hospital fighting for his life because of a shark attack. It was a bull shark. And he's passed away, brain dead apparently, and now he's passed away. So bloody terrible news. G'day, Grant Saywell. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. Rest in peace, young fella. Yeah, exactly right, Mark. Bloody horrible, mate. Horrible. No parent should have to see their kids off. I keep saying that, everyone. So there you go. Young Nico, rest in peace, little fella. Bloody shocking. And then, how's this one? Some bloke down in Victoria got towed up by, wait for it, a fox and put him in hospital, everyone. A bloke got attacked by a fox in Victoria and it put him in hospital. So if you're thinking foxes are very skittish, and they normally are, if they see a human, they'll run away. They're usually in trying to get into your chicken pen or something like that. And a fox attacked a bloke in Victoria, put him in hospital. What's going on? There's something in the water here in Australia, the foxes. And I don't think I've ever heard of a fox attacking a human before, but it happened. A fox, little timid, shy little fox that run away. They're cunning little things. They'll sneak in when you're not around to try and get your chickens. As soon as you come out, they're gone. Well, it attacked the guy. Did he corner it? And it was trying to get away. I don't know the full story there. If anyone knows the full story, let us know, will you? But a bloke got put in hospital by a fox here in Australia. So our foxes, don't mess with them. Aussie foxes are the toughest ones in the world. And then in the same week, we had a croc attack. Surprise, surprise, up here in North Queensland. This one I will put down to plain stupidity. You cannot put the shark attack, any shark attack, guys. We're Aussies. We swim in the ocean. Like 90% of Australians live around the ocean. That's what we do. We've all swum in the ocean. Is there anyone out there that has never swum in the ocean? We've all been in for a dip, guys. So you can't sit there and go, serve you. We all know that when you go in the ocean, it can be a dangerous place with rips, more dangerous than sharks, getting caught, dragged out in a rip and drowning, and sharks. And up here, friggin' crocodiles and box jellyfish and irukandji jellyfish, which are more dangerous than crocs and sharks. You get tagged by a box jellyfish, you are in deep shit. You can't swim in the water. It's why you come up to North Queensland and you don't see people swimming in the ocean. especially in summer, because of crocs and jellyfish. Box jellyfish can kill you dead very, very quickly. They're the most dangerous thing in Australia, everyone. Box jellyfish. And irukandjis aren't much better. So a bloke near Ingham, near Lynn Rogers. Lynn, you probably know the creek. It was Lynn was on, I think. Lynn will probably know the creek, Palm Creek or something. They showed it on the news, and you just go, if you're in North Queensland, you go, oh, no way am I going in there. It looks crocky. If something looks crocky, you don't go near it. You don't even go near the edge of it up here in North Queensland. Crocs are getting bad, everyone. Crocs are becoming a real problem up here. And there's two sides of the thing. People don't want to cull them. Other people want to cull them. I want to cull them because their numbers are just getting too out of control now. The numbers are getting out of control, and they're getting into places where they shouldn't be. They're in table drains in cane farms on the outskirts of Innisfail. They're at people's back fences. I had someone ring up the police station one night during some floods. I had a 5-metre croc at me back fence up at Ubanangi Swamp, about 10k north of Innisfail, place called Ubanangi Swamp, and there's houses and that up there around the edge. And she said they've got a 5-metre croc at me back fence trying to get in to get to my dogs. So all I did was ring the rangers up. I don't know if the rangers went out there. That's the type of shit that goes on up here. Another phone call one night. Hey, I'm down at Mission Beach. I just went to go for a swim in the stinger net, and there's a croc in there. It's only small, but it's salty. So I ring up the wildlife ranger. Mate, there's a little saltwater crocodile in the stinger net at Mission Beach. You need to go and catch him. Yeah, he'd be hiding in there to get away from the big one, mate, he said on the phone. Dead set. Welcome to North Queensland. So old mate was going for a swim in Palm Creek, I think it was called, and got tagged by a crocodile. I'm tipping it was a small one, because if it was anything 3-4 metre, or he wouldn't have got out of there. So it may have been a small one. It got him on the leg, put him in hospital. Lynn Rogers is on. Yes, it's well known for crocs. Don't know what that bloke was doing there. No, he shouldn't have been swimming in there. And sometimes you can just put stuff down to sheer stupidity, everyone. He should not have been here. So we've had a croc tack, and this one here is the most serious adult. Well, it doesn't get much more serious than losing a young boy to a shark attack, does it? This one here was horrific and is just a terrible thing. And I think might be the next slide. Yeah, there she is there, young everyone. Young Canadian girl, Piper James, her name is, 19 years old. She was over here with her friend on holidays, having a wonderful time in Australia. That's mum and dad there, everyone. Like, can you put yourself in their position? You'd be worried about your 19-year-old girl. My daughter went over as a young kid, went backpacking around Europe and the USA and all that, Lauren, and I was worried about it the whole time. Always worried about it. Always get an email or a text from her. I'm okay, Dad. I'm in Italy or whatever. And you just think, thank God she's okay. As a dad, you always worry about especially your daughter. You know your son's going to do stupid shit. But when you're a dad, you get very protective of your daughters, and you worry about them. So I can only imagine this poor dad here. Absolutely terrible. That's her there, Mark, if you're still watching on your TV. That's the young Canadian girl, mate, that was over here on holidays. Whole life ahead of her. Beautiful looking young kid, and 19 years old, backpacking around Australia. Was on Fraser Island, or Gari as they call it now, everyone. And what happened? They're still unsure. They're still unsure what happened to this young girl. Basically, it was about she went for a swim. I think she might have been working. Was she working, or she was on Fraser Island? She went for an early morning walk on the beach on the eastern side of Fraser Island. If you've ever been to Fraser, you know it's about 120 kilometres long beach, and you do not go swimming over there. One, you just don't swim on the eastern side of Fraser Island because of the surf, the rips, and the other one is sharks. There's a lot of sharks over at Fraser Island, everyone. And anyone who's been to Fraser will know that it is Shark Alley over there. Tiger sharks and all that type of stuff. So apparently someone about 6 o'clock in the morning was going for an early morning drive along the beach of Fraser Island, as they do, all the four-wheel drives going down. Someone got away early and found her body at the side of the ocean, and there was about 10 dingoes around her when they got there. And how do you say this nicely? You can't. They were basically having a munch on her. Okay, wild dingoes. Now, the autopsy's been done, and the last thing I read was water was found in her lungs, but they still are not sure exactly how she died. I'm hoping that she drowned before the dingoes got her, everyone. I really hope that's the case. Susie, let's quickly read Susie. Every time my daughter went overseas for a holiday, I would worry. Yeah, absolutely. Even though she said, stop worrying, Mum, I'm with friends, and I go nowhere alone, does not stop the worrying. I know, and that's what we do as parents. We care deeply about our kids. Lauren, someone stole a bag or her phone, I think it was, in Paris. Someone grabbed it and took off with Lauren's phone. And luckily, Lauren was with friends, boys and girls. There was a group of them. And one of the boys in Lauren's group, Aussie lad, Perth lad, he took off after this bloke and pulled a big rugby tackle off him and got Lauren's phone back. So luckily, then Lauren was with some Aussie lads, and one of the boys bloody got Lauren's phone back for her. So whoever that was, I don't know if it was Buzzy or I don't know who it was, but anyway, there was just a group of them met up in Paris or somewhere, and one of the lads must have played a bit Aussie rules or whatever. He took off after this bloke and tackled him and got Lauren's. Maybe he gave him a few of them ones too. While he's at safety in numbers, absolutely, Landy. Morning to you, mate. Hope you're having a good weekend. So there she is, Piper James, everyone. There was water found in her lungs during the autopsy, but they still don't know until they do further testing. How they do this, I don't know, but they don't know if she drowned first or whether she was attacked by dingoes and the dingoes killed her. But she did have, there was a thing there saying to the parents, it's probably not wise to have an open casket funeral for your daughter because there's obvious signs that the dogs had got to her, the dingoes had got to her. So I just hope the young girl drowned before the dingoes got her. Or did the dingoes attack her and she ran in the water and they got her and dragged her in and she inhaled water? Don't know, we're only speculating now, but it's just a horrible thing to happen. She shouldn't have been down at the beach that time in the morning. I always say there now because the dingoes don't have a lot of food on Fraser and they're getting more aggressive, everyone. They're getting more aggressive, and they always say, don't isolate yourself on Fraser Island. Stick around in groups. Don't let your kids walk away. The dingoes, and they're starting, I've only ever seen 2 or 3 at the most. They're getting around in packs of 10 over there now. So they're getting more brazen. Although, remember 1980 when Azaria Chamberlain got dragged out of a tent by a dingo and everyone reckons the parents killed her? How's that looking now? Lindy Chamberlain must be sitting back going, told you so. I told you it was a dingo. No one believed me. They can do it. I've seen dingoes go into tent. I've seen a dingo go into my tent on Fraser Island because I left the zip open and come running out. Phil will remember this. My son, he was with me at the time, come running out with a tub of butter in its mouth. They will take anything out of a tent if they can eat it. And they took that young baby, Azaria Chamberlain, in 1980. Anyone remember? We're all old here. We probably all remember that story. That was horrific. That was bloody terrible. They made a movie about it. Meryl Streep played Lindy Chamberlain, remember? Anyway, this young girl here, everyone, killed on Fraser Island. Well, we don't know if she was killed by dingoes, but this is a horrible thing to say, but the dingoes, they said the body had obvious marks where the dingoes had started eating her. And they will. If she drowned and washed up on the beach and the dingoes found her, they'll do it. They'll eat anything they can. That's, it's a horrible thing, isn't it? Poor bloody parents. They'll probably be sitting back going, I just hope young Piper drowned before the dogs got her. What a horrible thing. But anyway, stay tuned on that one. Yeah, I think what's the there's a massive camping ground on Fraser Island, halfway up. I can't remember its name. I've camped there with Dave, the diddly donk from Yorkshire, and Smithy and that. It's about halfway up, big fenced area. So I think you'll find now that Fraser Island, they'll probably start fencing. Tell you what they need to do. They're going, oh, what's going to happen now? They're going to cull the dingoes. They shouldn't cull the dingoes because they don't know if the dingoes actually attacked her. But if they start attacking people, something's got to be done. Either you reduce the numbers of people on Fraser Island, you reduce the amount of dingoes, or I've got an even better one for you. Set up some food stations on the island and start feeding them. They are starving. The dingoes on Fraser Island have got no food source. There's no kangaroos, wallabies on there. There's no pigs. They got rid of the wild goats many back in the 80s, and they got rid of the wild brumbies. They got rid of the wild brumbies on Fraser Island. And what used to happen is a wild brumby would die naturally because they had a short lifespan over there because the amount of sand that they used to have in their stomach. And the dingoes would feed on the dead brumbies, the wild horses. So they don't have that anymore. They might lucky to, if they can get a goanna. And the reason they hang around on the beach, Fraser Island's very popular for tailor fishing. So they always scavenge in the beach, hoping a fisherman will leave a fish frame or something on the beach for them. They'll always come into your camp looking for a feed. We're sitting there one night, me and Roz, in the dark, and I went, something's watching me. Shined the torch. There was a dingo about 5 meters from us, just sitting there watching us because we're eating. And I, as tempted as I was to throw him a sausage, poor bastard, he's looking at us going, give me a sausage, will you? The big thing over there, don't feed dingoes because it can make them more aggressive. But the poor bloody things are starving to death. So Chrissy's saying I never doubted. Well, the whole country thought she was a murderer, and she did 20 years in prison or whatever for murdering her baby. And then some evidence came out, and apparently they reckon now that it was a dingo that got her baby. Imagine spending 20 years in prison and everyone thinking you killed your own baby, and it was actually a dingo that got it. She came running out and said, dingo got my baby. And everyone's going, you're full of shit. Well, yeah. There's a fair chance it probably was a dingo that got her baby, looking back now, because they do go into tents looking for food. Little newborn baby, a dingo will take a, they're a wild animal at the end of the day, everyone. So how horrible is that? Young Piper there. Bloody terrible. Absolutely terrible. So there you go. The wild animals. Has anyone else got any wild animal stories? Any drop bear stories for anyone? Yeah, crucified by the media. Yeah, listen, she probably shouldn't have been there by herself. If she was swimming by herself, shouldn't have done it. More education for backpackers when you go over there. Letting them know. Don't swim on the east coast of Fraser Island. If you want to go for a swim, go to Lake Mackenzie or Lake Wabi. Go to one of the freshwater lakes and have a swim there. Don't swim in the ocean. I've been up to me waist on the east side only because I could have a piss because I was at Eli Creek and I was busting for a tinkle and there's no toilets there and there was people around. So I had to waddle into the ocean up to me waist, have a tinkle in the ocean and go back. But you certainly don't go swimming over there. More education for backpackers. Like, there is signs over there, don't feed the dingoes and all that, but they need to educate people. Don't take your eyes off your kids. There was another one there recently, only a couple of years ago. Dingoes were trying to actually get into someone's tent while the kids were in there. So they're getting more aggressive. They need to set up food stations. I don't want to see the dingoes get culled. Not at this stage anyway. Maybe reduce the numbers of people on Fraser Island and set up some food stations because the poor bloody things are starving to death there. Phil and Marky Lavelle having a chat together. Now, here we go. Here's another big story that's been on the news. Is 3 people shot dead in Lake Cargelligo in central New South Wales, everyone. Is it between Orange and Dubbo or something? Place I've never heard of, Lake Cargelligo, by this arsehole here, and his name is Julian Ingram. He's the man wanted for shooting 3 people to death. No, shooting 3 people. His former girlfriend, who looks like an Indigenous girl, she was pregnant and she was in the car with, sounds like her new boyfriend. He shot both of those. Then he went around to her auntie's place, shot her dead. And then there was a 19-year-old man at that house who was shot and is wounded and in hospital at the moment. So this guy here is still wanted for 3 murders, everyone. Manhunt for Aboriginal gunman. Now, we're not going to go into a race thing here, everyone. We know you can be Aboriginal now, have Aboriginal blood in you, and you've got very, very fair skin. That's happened over years, hasn't it? Roz's grandkids, the Torres Strait Islanders, they've got fair skin as well, the 2 boys. So this guy, what we're going to talk about is when they put it out on the news, they said the person that's wanted is of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander appearance. Now, let's get the 2 words right. Appearance and heritage are 2 different things. You all know I used to be a police officer. If someone put over the radio, be on the lookout for an Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander person, I'm looking for a person with dark skin, everyone. And I don't know how it's changed now, but when I was a copper, which wasn't that long ago, that guy there, it doesn't matter whether he's got Aboriginal blood in him or not, his appearance is Caucasian. I don't give a shit what anyone. He is of Caucasian appearance. Now, he might identify as Aboriginal. He might have Aboriginal blood in him. That's irrelevant. That's got nothing to do with anything, okay? He is of Caucasian appearance. He appears to be a Caucasian. Yeah, all right, he might have a splash of Aboriginal in him. Whoopie-doo. He's of Caucasian appearance. So when you're putting out, when the police are looking out for this guy and it comes over the radio, all stations, BOLF to come, BOLF to follow. Be on the lookout for. We didn't do this in Innisfail, but in the bigger towns they did. And about 30 seconds later, they go, all stations, be on the lookout for a council Hilux bearing Queensland or New South Wales number plates, and they'll give the number plate. They had the number plate there. You're looking for a person of Caucasian appearance. He's wearing a grey shirt, a red hat, and yellow board shorts. Like, they'll give you a detailed description of the person you're looking for. New South Wales Police put out to be on the lookout for a person of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander appearance, not heritage or descent, appearance. Now, let me know that guy is not Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander in appearance, everyone. He's Caucasian. Or you could put out, be on the lookout for a man roughly 6 foot tall, 182 centimetres, fair complexion, olive complexion, dark complexion, black complexion. Black would be like a Sudanese person, real black skin. An Aboriginal person around Innisfail here would be of, olive skin or a dark complexion. That guy hasn't got a dark complexion. Wouldn't even say he's got an olive complexion. He's Caucasian appearance. Fair skin, if anything. So New South Wales Police, when they put it out to the media, they should have said, yeah, all right, he identifies Aboriginal, but he's Caucasian appearance, or he's got fair skin. You wouldn't even say he's got olive skin. Olive skin's like Polynesian people, everyone. They got olive skin. Roz, she's got a dark complexion because she is Torres Strait Islander. She's got a dark complexion. That's how you got to put things out over the radio. They still haven't found this arsehole. You got probably people in coppers in New South Wales looking around for a black fella. Okay, because they think he's got dark skin. That's the bloke they're after. He looks Russian. Yeah, he could pass as a Russian guy, couldn't he? Anyway, His name's Julian Ingram, everyone, and they haven't found him yet. He's allegedly murdered 3 people. The young girl was pregnant, heavily pregnant. People say, does that count as a 4th murder? No, it doesn't. In Queensland, the baby's got to actually be born for it to count. There's other charges that'll be rolled in there. But at the end of the day, it'll all get rolled into 3 murders. So anyway, hopefully they find the bastard and that he doesn't hurt anyone else. So there you go. Gun laws. Let's go on to gun laws, everyone. I heard that there were shotgun shells found at the crime scene. So it sounds like he may have used a shotgun. Now, here comes the twist. He's never been a licensed firearm holder. So he didn't have a firearms license. And even if he did, he shouldn't have had any weapons because he had down in New South Wales, they call him an AVO, apprehended violence order. Up here, we call him a domestic violence order. The guy was out on bail for domestic violence charges. So up here in Queensland, I'm sure New South Wales is the same. As soon as you get a domestic violence order put against you of any sort, whether it's a temporary one, a full-blown one, whether you're released on domestic violence bail, you will lose your firearms. That was part. If we went to a house and there was domestic violence, we got him for domestic violence, those weapons went with us and he didn't get them back. Okay? You do not get weapons in Queensland or Australia, I'm going to say Australia, if you got a domestic violence order. Apparently, he's never been a licensed firearms holder. Where'd he get the gun? Let's say it was a shotgun. Where'd he get it? No one knows. I hope it was a stolen weapon. I certainly hope it wasn't a friend of his has given it to him, or that friend will be in deep shit as well, probably go for murder as well. So he was out on bail, everyone. What kind of bail? I don't know. I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Oh, I've been suffering badly with hay fever. So he was out on bail. I heard it was police bail. They may have released him on a temporary domestic violence order or something, and he was on bail. At the end of the day, bail or a domestic violence order is just a piece of paper. Apparently, he checked in for his bail only hours before he went and committed these murders. Should he have been, when you're a cop and you go and arrest someone and you take them back to the police station, interview them, see if they want to do an interview, you end up charging them. You present him with his charge paperwork and give him a court date. You've got to then make the decision as a police officer whether you release that person on bail from the watch house, and you can add bail conditions in there, or if it's a very serious offence, or it's an offence that he just keeps doing and you don't want him back out in the public, or the seriousness of the offence was the big one, you do an objection to bail. So he has to go to court, and then you put whether he gets bail or not into the court's hands. So as coppers, if it was a minor thing, we used to let him out on bail. If it was serious enough, we do an objection to bail, and he'd go to the next available court, and then it'd be into the magistrates. He'd put it into the magistrate's hands. So whether he went through court and got bail through court, or whether it was police bail, I'm not sure. But he was out on bail, and he got his hands on a firearm, everyone, and he killed 3 people. So, yeah, with a bit of luck, he's turned his gun on himself. We have better things to spend our taxpayers on. Yeah, I know. Hopefully he's dead. Hopefully they find him dead somewhere, and the taxpayer doesn't have to, and he doesn't go to jail for the rest of his life for a triple murder. He'll probably never get out, and sit there whinging to the screws that he doesn't like the food he's being given and all that type of stuff. That Desi Freeman down in Victoria that shot the 2 police officers, they still haven't found him, guys. What's going on there? Is he dead? I reckon he might have turned the gun on himself too, that Desi Freeman. But until they find a body, they've got to keep going like he's still out there. This guy took off he worked for the local council. He was a gardener for the local council. Took off in a council vehicle. He's obviously dumped that because it had the big orange lights and everything on it. And, so a terrible thing to happen down in New South Wales. The day after all these gun laws came in, everyone, a day after the big gun law thing, after the Bondi massacre, we had 15 people shot there and now another 3 from this lunatic. This guy here, you can't blame the gun laws there. He wasn't licensed. No one gave him a gun, so we can't blame the system there. He got his hands on a firearm, and that just shows you can have strict gun laws and that. There are a lot of firearms out there that are illegal, that are not registered. They're not registered firearms. What are some of the new laws coming in? Well, the first law, and I still haven't heard them say it, is that I think you should be an Australian citizen before you even considered to be a firearms owner here in Australia. You must not a permanent resident. You must be a bloody Australian citizen, unless you're someone who comes in for the Olympics and you get a special exemption for clay target shooting and all that during a sporting event. There's got to be provisions for that from someone coming in from other countries and that for sporting events. But, you know, like an Australian citizen, that's got to be one thing. And anyone with a domestic violence order, an AVO against them, no firearms. If you've got in Queensland, if you've got a serious SVO, serious violent offender tag against it, you'll never get it. I personally think if you've got any sort of criminal history, you don't get a firearms license. You get one shot. You break the law, and I'm not talking about drink driving and traffic offences now. Traffic offences are different to criminal history offences, everyone. If you've got any sort of criminal history, you don't get you lose your firearms license, you don't get a firearms license. Some people will disagree with me on that one. I think you should get to own a firearm, no criminal history whatsoever. As soon as you break the law and you get charged with a criminal offence, not a traffic offence, gone. No firearms license. So that's the way it needs to be. We need to get stricter. All right? We know the Bondi shooting. He wasn't an Australian citizen. He was a permanent resident. His son was on a watch list. And somehow his dad got firearms. I think some of the laws that now you can't have 6 firearms. I think they've put it down to you can only own 4 firearms if you live in a city or whatever. Farmers can own up to 10 because they have different guns for different feral animals and whatever. Like don't go and put down an injured bull with a broken leg with a 22 rifle, do you? You'd have to use a high caliber rifle, like a 308 or something. So farmers can have up to 10 different firearms. I think some people, if you own more than 4 firearms and you live in the cities and that, unless you've got a really exceptional reason, you're going to lose some firearms, guys. Do you really need 6 guns when you live in the city? Probably not. So I'm all for tightening the laws. We've got good gun laws at the moment, everyone, but the trouble is they're not enforcing them properly. We can tighten up on it. I'll give you an example. We don't have a digital firearms register in this country. Can you believe that? There needs to be one digital firearm so that the William-Billa shootings, like if you've got weapons registered in New South Wales, you should know there should be one digital register for firearms. We're still not there. Here we are in 2026 and we don't have that yet. They need to tighten that up. Those guys that they went to the Philippines, came back, one of them was on the watch list. The system failed, everyone. It wasn't the gun laws that failed. It was, well, they did. It was the system. The police, I don't know. The Australian Federal Police failed and the whole system failed. Okay, it was bullshit. That Bondi thing. If you're not an Australian citizen, you don't have a firearm. You got criminal history, you don't get one. If you're on a watch list, and it brings me on to my next point. The maniac from far North Queensland, let's get rid of this arsehole for a bit. The maniac from North Queensland, when they were debating, now these gun laws, they're trying to bring in the gun laws and the hate speech. The Liberals were going, you need to recall to Albo. I'm going to stick up for Albo here. Don't believe I'm doing this, but I am. You got to recall Parliament and we've got to pass new gun laws and we've got to pass new hate speech laws. So the Liberal government were the opposition demanding that they go back. So they come back in from Christmas holidays And within a few days, they've got a 500-page document on gun laws and hate speech. And then the Liberals are going, we need more time to read it. It's too rushed. Liberals were the ones who were demanding they come back. But now everyone knows that they had to have a look at the gun laws, and we've got to have a look at hate speech laws. And if we can tighten them up, then we can do that. Don't rush it. It was too rushed, everyone. No one knew what was in there. No one. So all the Labor parties just voted for it. And then the Liberals under Susan Lee has said, no, we're going to vote for it too. So all the Liberal MPs, Andrew Hastie, Phil Thompson and all them who were opposing it, all rolled over because their boss told them, you will vote yes. So all the Liberals voted for it except the National Party. 3 Nationals didn't vote for it. Bob Katter didn't vote for it. One Nation didn't vote for it. It was too rushed, everyone. I'm not saying everything in those hate speech laws and the firearms laws was bad, but it was too rushed. There was too much and it was too rushed. And that's why it should have been voted down until they have it. Just take your time. But we've already got hate speech laws. And there you go, the system failing again. When you've got people waving Palestinian flags, going death to the Jews and all that, if that's not hate speech, if there's not enough there to go and arrest people, and New South Wales police stood up and said, oh, we didn't hear them saying that on the steps of the Sydney Eye. It was on the camera, the media cameras were on them. You could hear them saying it. And New South Wales police just buried their head in the sand. The system failed again. The police failed. They should have taken action there. There's laws in place for that type of stuff. Okay, there's a difference between having an opinion and hate speech laws. And when you're standing on the steps of the Sydney Opera House yelling out death to the you-know-whos, it sounds like that, bloody, you can't have that in this country. We've got laws for that. Okay, people could have been arrested. We didn't act on it. We already got laws in place. Have they gone too far now? Probably. And that's what everyone's worried about. Are you allowed to have an opinion on YouTube now? So you've got to be careful what you say. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, Phil. So the bloody Bob Katter, and here you go. Some of the people had a chance to stand up with these hate speech laws and gun laws and that and ask for an amendment and go, listen, we agree with a lot of the stuff in here, but we want an amendment, and then they have to vote on it. Bob Katter stood up and said, if you are on a watch list through ASIO, you should not have a firearms license at all. So that went to the vote. You think that'd be a no-brainer. If you're on any sort of federal police watch list or an ASIO watch list, or you're a bit of a dodgy character and the government and the federal police don't trust you because you could be up to no good, do you think that they should be allowed to own a firearm? All us normal people will say no. Bob Katter stood up. I want an amendment to the bill. If you're on a ASIO watch list, you don't get a firearms license. That wasn't in there, apparently. You reckon it would have been? Guess what? The Labor Party voted it down because they got the majority. They voted it down. How serious are they, everyone, about changing gun laws? Instead of trying to attack farmers and law-abiding citizens and attacking their rights, how about attacking the rights of people that really shouldn't have a firearm? So Bob Katter's amendment got voted down. Bob just stood up and said anyone on an ASIO watch list should lose their firearms license, lose their firearms, or definitely not be issued a firearms license. And this ties into all the bloody agencies talking to each other and having a digital system so that when New South Wales police go to bring up something and go to issue, this bloke's applied for a firearms license, something flashes up and goes, ASIO watch list, rejected. You don't need to tell the person that. But can you give me your take? There's an email there. I'll reply to that later. So that got voted. The Labor Party thinks it's okay for someone on an ASIO watch list to have a firearms license. Can you believe that shit? Can you frigging believe that? Like, you can't make this shit up. That's what they voted for. They voted Bob Katter down. And that one there. They voted for it. Now, who votes in Parliament, everyone? I had to Google this. When you bring a bill in, someone brings a bill in and you get to vote on it, the House of Representatives, the MPs, Bob Katter's an MP, everyone. He's in the lower house. There's 150 of them, and there's 76 senators in the upper house. Apparently, they all vote on bills. Okay, so just to give you an idea, at the moment, the 76 senators, each state's got 12 senators, and the 2 territories have got 2 senators each. So there's a total of 76 senators. ALP's got 29. The Liberal LNP, 27. Greens have got 10. One Nation, 4, and there's 6 others in the Senate. So I've written it down here. In the MPs, members of Parliament, ALP's got the majority here, 94 Labor MPs out of the 150. So they've got the majority, haven't they? Nearly 2/3. Coalition's got 42. Greens have got 1. Katter Party's got 1, which is Bob Katter. He's an MP. One Nation's got 1. I forget who that is. Independents, there's 10 independents. The Teals, they call them. And there's a couple others. Centre something party have got 1. So there you go. But it was voted down. So obviously the 94 Labor MPs and the 29 Labor senators voted against Bob Katter's bill. That's saying that it's okay if you're on an ASIO watch list, you can have a firearms license. That's the type of fucking idiots we have got in Canberra, everyone. How do you deal with that? The average person would just go, if I was the Prime Minister and say, hey, Buck, we want to bloody have a bill here. If you're on an ASIO watch list, you don't get a firearms license. That is a no-brainer. That's a lay down misère. Absolutely. Just do it now. Don't even vote on it. I'd go, I'm going to make a bloody captain's call on this one. That's just a no-brainer. But no, they voted, and they voted against it. Why? Does it infringe on people's rights? Oh, even people on an ASIO watch list that have obviously come in to this country, they're probably not, well, they could be Australian, born and bred, but normally you'd be, come in as an immigrant or whatever. Like, no, you can't do that. Or, I don't know. I was going to say something then, but I forget what it was. That's a no-brainer. Now, listen, this one pisses me off, guys. The hate speech. Another member of the Liberal Party, Phil Thompson, who's a veteran, he's the member for Herbert in Townsville. Phil got up and said, I want an amendment to the hate speech laws. And I'm going to introduce an amendment saying that it is illegal to burn the Australian national flag. It doesn't get any more hate speech than sitting on the Sydney Harbour Bridge or the steps of the Opera House burning the Australian national flag in this friggin' country. Now, it doesn't get much for me as a veteran and a proud Australian, like all you guys are proud Australians. Doesn't get much worse than that. That just tells me you burn the Australian national flag, that bloody beautiful flag behind me there, that you hate this country. It doesn't get any more hate speech than that, than burning the country of another flag, the flag of another country. Phil Thompson stood up and said, I want to make it against the law. I want to make it a criminal offence to burn the Australian national flag. The punishment's going to be a large fine and or imprisonment. Do I think you should go to jail for burning the Australian national flag? Probably not the first time. At the end of the day, it's a bit of cloth, everyone. I know it means a lot to us. Definitely some sort of community work and a large fine. Do I think they should go to jail? I wouldn't be upset if they did, but trying to be realistic. But it certainly should be an offence. I wish I had a poll here. Give it a thumbs up if you're thinking it should be an offence to burn the Australian national flag in this country. Should it be an offence? Put a thumbs up if you think it should be. One here, we'll get onto that in a minute about One Nation. So there you go. They voted against it. Labor Party once again voted that it is okay to burn the Australian national flag in this country. Fucking putrid. That's my thoughts on it. Absolutely putrid. Where is it? It's around somewhere. I had a friggin' brassard there that I wore in my uniform with the Australian national flag on when I served overseas on operations, everyone. We Aussie soldiers wear that flag on our uniform when we go overseas. Absolute bullshit. Drawn and quartered pump koala. Yeah. Why not? So I know a lot of you out there will agree with me on this one. If I did a poll, I'm pretty sure it'd be 99%, if not 100%, especially this one here. Yeah, who said that? Ray Newman, if you burn our flag, you should be arrested. Absolutely. Well, guess what, Ray? It's fine to do that. You ask the Labor Party. They voted against Phil Thompson's amendment to the bill. Phil said, look, we're talking about hate speech here. It doesn't get any much worse than burning the Australian national flag. That tells me you hate this country and everything we stand for. Our Christian values, our way of life. It means you shouldn't be here. And I know there's Australians out there that burn it because, oh, I disagree with the guy. I'm going to burn the flag. I'll tell you what now, if I saw anyone try to burn the Australian national flag in front of me, it would not be pretty. I would intervene. I could not stand back and watch that shit. It goes against everything I stand for, and I would not allow it. And if it meant throwing punches, that's what I would do. And I'm serious. I'm not just bloody big note me crack now on YouTube. That's what I would do. I've never seen anyone try to burn it in front of me. I hope I never do. I hope I never do. And that goes for, I would never burn the bloody Aboriginal flag or the Torres Strait Island flag or any sort of Australian flag. The Australian Army flag is the national flag. Flag of the Air Force or the white ensign. Any flag that is a recognised flag under the Australian Flags Act 1953, I think you shouldn't be allowed to burn any of it. If you don't like Aboriginal people, I don't think you should be allowed to burn the Aboriginal flag. That is bullshit as well. I don't agree with that. I've never seen anyone burn the Aboriginal flag, nor should they. If I ever tried to burn the Torres Strait Island flag, I would be out flat on my back. Counting sheep rods would knock me clean out. Not that I would even think of doing that. I would never think of burning any of our Australian flags. No matter what. No matter how much I disagreed with the country or whatever. I know in America, they haven't made it law over there. You reckon that's one country where they would make it law. The Labor Party voted against Phil Thompson's bill, everyone. Phil stood up in Parliament and said, I want to make it an offence to burn the Australian national flag in this country. Make it an offence so the police can arrest you if you're doing it. Nah, Labor seems to think it's okay. Freedom of speech. Bullshit. There's freedom of speech and then there's that shit. And I'm dead set against it, everyone, as I'm guessed by all the thumbs up there. A lot of you guys are too. What say you? Now, I was going to do a poll on whether we need the bull sharks are out of control. The sharks are out of control, everyone, especially in New South Wales. We run drum lines up here in Queensland because we're not as soft as you New South Welshmen. Maybe we are soft because we try to catch the sharks before they eat us. New South Wales, you just run the gauntlet. We have drum lines. I know there's drum lines off Cairns, Palm Cove. No, hardly anyone swims. There's a stinger net there anyway. No one swims outside the stinger net. So I don't know why they're worried about sharks there, but they've got drum lines off Palm Cove in Cairns. They've got drum lines all around Queensland, and they catch a lot of bloody sharks on there to keep the numbers down. And it seems to work, everyone. There's not as many shark attacks in Queensland as there is in New South Wales and Western Australia. West Aussie, usually if there's a shark attack over there, it's usually one type of shark, and it's the big fella with a bloody white belly on it, the big great whites. When you get attacked over there, it's usually a great white. Sydney, they reckon they're all bull sharks, and the bull sharks are in feeding at the moment. They're everywhere. I'm going to show you a video in a minute of just how bad the bull sharks are. should we start culling bull sharks? That was going to be a poll. Put a thing up. Do you reckon we should start culling bull sharks? They are everywhere. They're in bloody lakes and golf courses. They're in you don't swim in any of the waterways on the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast now. There's bull sharks in everywhere, guys. There's bull sharks in there everywhere. They're getting out of control. You know my thoughts on crocodiles. I think we should need a cull. I think we need to start culling crocodiles, especially in areas where they shouldn't be. Start popping them. Give them a lead ball a small lead ball in the right ear, as Rodney Rood would say, with a 308 bloody slug. No flag should be burnt. HSV, I agree with you, mate. I think it's disrespectful. I wouldn't go over to America and burn their flag. I don't agree with some of the shit the big orange fellas doing at the moment. I wouldn't even think of, just because I disagree with the Yanks at the moment, wouldn't think of burning their flags. Just bullshit. Yeah, I know. But anyway, what was I talking about? Sharks. I'm going to present a little video. It's only a short video, everyone, of a bloke fishing in the Noosa River. Now, usually when it's a thing, you think, oh, this is just AI. I think this is fair dinkum. I saw this a while ago, and this will just show you how bad bull sharks are. And the two main types of sharks that kill humans here in Australia are three: great whites, tigers, and bull sharks. Bull sharks are the bad ones. You don't go swimming in any of the rivers and all this type of stuff, okay, unless it's bloody clear and shallow and you can see what you're doing. That young boy that died jumping off the rocks in Sydney Harbour, apparently that was a bull shark that got him. They must have seen it or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to present. Let's get rid of that one there. Yeah, they've been in the Brisbane River for as long as people can remember, Jenny. Now, present a video. Let's see if we can... no, Buck, you idiot. Let's do this. Present. Share the screen. Here we go. I'm with it now. Bull sharks in the Noosa River. Share. Let's see if we can see this one. Hopefully you can see that, everyone. We'll make it bigger. And we'll play it. If I can work out where the play button. This is a guy fishing in the Noosa River. He's got his down scanner on, his Humminbird down scanner. And he basically, you can see on the scanner there's nothing there. And then he starts smashing the water with the paddle of his boat. Have a look what happens.
Swim in the Noosa River. There's nothing there now, but watch this. There's one.
Here I come.
There's two. There's three. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
What's the big one coming in a minute? Have a look at it.
Oh, there's a big donny right there. A couple of big ones coming through now. Well, then we'll go swimming in this river.
Few beep words there. Stop sharing. Bull sharks in the Noosa River. Oh, back to me. There we go. There you go. Marky Lavelle, you're a fisherman. Holy shit, exactly right, Nick New. Now, I know some of the shorts, the thing, all AI and all that type of stuff on thing. I'm pretty sure that is fair dinkum. It seemed pretty fair dinkum to me. So you could see there on his Hummingbird down scanner, splashing the water a few times, and he had about 15 bull sharks. And that's in the Noosa River on the Sunshine Coast, everyone. So there you go. Mark, if you're still on, collect comments. What do you mean collect comments? No, I haven't done a poll, mate. I'm not doing polls today because I've got to go out of StreamYard and it's just too much dicking around for me. So no collecting comments there. Mark, do you reckon that's fair dinkum where he's picking them up on his down scanner? Did you see how many bull sharks appeared? As soon as they hear that splashing in the water, they came. And then at the end there was a couple of bloody... Here we go. Burnsy has got a comment here. I live in Noosa. Yeah, this video is the real deal. Yet all the kids are still jumping off bridges and swimming in the river and canals, not realising what's underneath them. Scary shit, isn't it? And bull sharks are man-eaters, everyone. Bullies are the worst ones. They cause more, because there's a lot more of them, and they're the ones that come up the rivers. Rarely you get a great white or a tiger shark come up a river. Okay, they usually hang out. The tigers are out on the reef and what have you up here in the north, and then down south the great whites and everything. But the great whites are usually the ones that get the surfers, aren't they? The ones out surfing, New South Wales and also over in Western Australia, sometimes South Australia. There's been a couple of great white bloody shark attacks last year. Someone got taken at Esperance, I think, by a great white last year. Yeah, someone, Russ Longston saying great sound of the Hummingbird. So there you go. AJ Byrne lives in Noosa and he reckons it's fair dinkum. Bloody scary stuff, isn't it? Absolutely scary stuff. It really is. Bloody hell. So now I want to show you another video, guys. There you go. Do we reckon sharks should be culled? I'm going to go, yeah, I reckon it's time to start knocking them, especially the bull sharks. It just seems to be more great white sharks happening, great white attacks happening than there used to be. Why is their food drying up in the oceans and they're coming in closer looking for it? I don't know. I don't know. Brett, if you're on, your mate up in Cairns who's a marine specialist, Jamie, Dr. Jamie, someone who was with Steve Irwin when Steve got done by the Stingray, everyone. Be good to have Jamie on for a chat one night talking about why are there so many shark attacks lately? Like, we've always swum in the water, everyone. You can't say it's, more people swimming in the water. We've always swum in the ocean. That's what Aussies do. But there just seems to be more shark attacks. Friggin' crocodiles, I'll tell you now, as a North Queenslander, they are out of control. I know there's people out there, Wild Man and all that are against croc culling. I'm all for it. I'm with Bob Cutter on this one. Bob could be a bit mad at times. I'm all for culling crocs. They're friggin' in table drains around cane farms and that here. Like, there's just someone at Lucinda, Lynn Rogers. Did you see that one? One went walking across the back of someone's house the other day. Looked like a 2.5 metre saltwater croc just going for a stroll in the paddock. Obviously, it was the water source close by, but they'll walk for bloody kilometres, they reckon, salties across land to get to another water source. They found hundreds of miles inland, saltwater crocodiles, and you don't dip your big toe in the water up there, even if it's a puddle in the Northern Territory or far North Queensland. If it's a decent-sized puddle, you don't go near it because you don't know what's in the bloody things. Crocs are scary creatures. So are foxes. Oh, how'd you be? Imagine being in hospital and your mates are ringing you up going, where are you, mate? I'm in hospital. What happened? A fox towed me up. Dead set. I've never heard of a fox putting, there you go, slacking. You reckon the grizzly bears and bloody your black bears are angry up there in Canada? They got nothing on our foxes, mate. Our foxes put people in hospital here. You had to, I don't know. You'd have to see it to believe it. How do you get attacked by a fox? They are such skittish creatures. They'll run away when they see you. Not this one in Victoria. He must have been on the VBs. He must have had a couple of cans of VB, that fox, and put his boxing mitts on and go, I'm going to go and have a crack at a human. I've had a few VBs, and that's what happened. So there you go. Right, on to some serious shit now. Back on to Phil Thompson's bill about burning the Australian flag. Not happy with Phil. If you see this, I'm not happy, mate. You should have voted against that bill. I don't like how the Liberals rolled over. And as we speak now, just before I came live, Susan Lee, however you say her last name, her days are numbered, everyone. And as soon as the Liberals voted her as opposition leader, I thought, she isn't Prime Minister material. Have a look at her. She's as woke as fuck. There's no way she'll ever be the Prime Minister of this country. Like, pick a strong leader. We need them at the moment. It looks like Andrew Hastie may be the new leader. And up until recently, I would have been all for that. But I found out that Andrew Hastie was the one who went to the media and dobbed in Ben Roberts-Smith, apparently. And he was all against this bill, against the bill. And then when his leader said, you will vote yes, him and Phil, like good little soldiers, they voted yes. And apparently that's the done thing in Parliament. You don't dare go against what... That's the whole idea of being a politician, guys, is you shouldn't be there doing everything that the leader of your party tells you to do. You're there to represent your electorate. Bob Katter goes down to Canberra and he bloody represents his electorate. He represents farmers and bloody cattle farmers and all that type of stuff. He's always in the best interest of people from the electorate of Kennedy. And that's what all the politicians should be doing. Okay? Any Labor politician that's from the country and has a lot of farmers and all that type of stuff, they should have been making a decision in the best interest of their electorate. But no, the politicians, it's like the military. You get told to do something and it's, yes, sir, 3 bags full. How high do you want me to jump? And that's exactly what the Liberals did. That friggin' Susan Lee said, we're going to vote for this. We're going to vote for this bill, this hate speech things, even though we haven't had time to read it all and it's all been rushed. We're going to vote for the hate speech and the gun laws. And then Andrew Hastie and all them come out and big note in their crack on YouTube and Facebook saying, I'm dead set against this and all this. And then when it comes to the vote, they fucking vote yes. Weak pricks. Weak pricks. Get a spine. Hastie, Phil. I like Phil Thompson. He's down there. Oh, bloody, he supports the Townsville Chiefs and all that. Disappointed in you, Phil, on that one, mate. Get some balls and stop being a yes man and bloody represent your people, mate. And your vote of yes wasn't representing Herbert, let me tell you. Russ, what do you reckon? That's the way I see it. Anyway, Phil, to Phil's credit, he was the one who stood up, being a veteran. He served in Afghanistan, as did Andrew Hastie. Never take that away from them, guys. I still like the fact that they're ex-soldiers and bloody they served overseas in Afghanistan. Andrew Hastie, he's been through the hard yards, everyone. Fucking disappointed in him now. Thought he'd have more balls than that. The guy's an ex-SAS officer. And if you knew what it took for an officer to pass the SAS selection course, not many people do it. He's obviously a tough man in his day. Cliff, I'll get on it. Mr. Bullets just sent me an email. I won't be reading them while I'm doing the live feed. I'll have a read of it, Cliffy, after this. So, Andrew looks like he might be the new opposition leader. I reckon he's done his dash. You go on there, and I'll tell you what, people are unloading on him. And he's copping a lot of backlash, as probably Phil Thompson, as a lot of the Liberal MPs are. And good on those 3 national MPs for friggin' standing up for what they believed in and they voted no. Good on them. I don't know their names. There's a couple of females. Good on you, girls. Bloody standing up. And the Nationals, I'd like to see the Nationals team up with One Nation now. Piss the Liberals off. They've had their chance. They blew it. They blew the election. Dutton was a dud. And then you've got all these yes men in the Liberal Party now. Phil Thompson, Andrew Hastie and all that, doing whatever Susan Lee told them to do. You will vote yes. Oh, okay, ma'am, yes, we'll vote yes. Even though fucking deep down we don't agree with it, we're going to vote yes. Weak as piss. Get some balls and bloody stand up and have a crack. Why am I so against the Australian flag being burnt? Well, I'm going to show you a video, everyone. You ready to watch this one? It goes for about a few minutes, and it's got a nice song attached to it, I'm Coming Home. And being a veteran, you knew that when you went overseas, if you got shot and killed or whatever, at least your body got looked after on the way home and when it got home. It's called a ramp ceremony, everyone. We had 41 of them in Afghanistan. 41. And a mate of mine, he used to be one of my diggers, everyone, Cliffy, he became an RSM, and one of his jobs was organising the ramp ceremonies when the dead bodies from Afghanistan arrived home. And Cliffy said it bloody hit him hard, all right? And he went to a bit of depression stages there, having to organise 41 funerals and ramp ceremonies for dead Australian soldiers when they come home. And after this, I'm going to go back into the big orange fella again. He's had a rant about NATO troops and how they didn't serve on the front line and didn't pull their weight. Well, I've got some statistics for you soon, but I want you to watch this video. This is going to go for a while. Grab a cup of coffee, everyone. I know I started at 9, already been going an hour and a half. I've still got lots. There's a lot to talk about, and it's something I'm bloody passionate about. Sunday, it's long weekend. We've got plenty of time. What would you be doing if you weren't watching me talking shit? You'd be out mowing the lawn. So let's go. No, Buck. No. I've got to invite guests. No, I want to share the screen, someone. I want to share the screen. That's what I want to do. This one's called, it's a tribute to Australian soldiers, everyone. And I'm going to go further deep into this because one of the guys you see on this video, everyone, is buried right near my grandfather. And we're going to go into that soon. Sit back, and I'm going to go and have a quick tinkle while this is playing. And sit back, and you'll soon see why burning the Australian flag should be an offence and what it means to people who've served in the military and bloody veterans. Here we go. I'll be back.
Swept from the shore by the tempest of war, cast adrift and cut loose, we were so lost and confused. But now I'm going home, oh now I'm going home. I have found my true north, and I'm going home. To the friends I have lost, I stand here and to you I salute. You are coming back with me in my heart, and I'll take you home. Oh, now I'll take you home. Oh, now I'll take you home. I won't forget you're in my heart, and I'll take you home. I'm coming home, oh now I'm coming home. To the deep southern seas, the stars are bringing me back. So now I'm coming home, oh now I'm coming home. I have found my way back and I'm coming home. I'm coming home, oh now I'm coming home. The time has come to be as one, so now I'm coming home, oh now I'm coming home. So save a seat for me, because I'm coming home.
My old boss there. Bit of comedy coming up at the end, guys, to lighten it up a bit. But anyway, hope you all saw that. Yeah. Huggo, yeah. I'm going to have a Huggo on for a chat one night, Russ. Justin Huggett. Medal for Gallantry. I'm going to have Justin on serve with the Aussie soldier, but serve with the British Army over in Afghanistan. And Huggo is very opinionated and very passionate about this as well. And Huggo said Phil's explaining things on the Willie Beating Cancer podcast. Okay. All right. Phil Thompson's going to come on. So Phil's obviously copping some backlash, as he should, about voting against this bill, Russ. So we'll see what Phil's got. Phil's a wonderful guy. I was a bit disappointed in Phil for that. I really was. So there you go, guys. That was pretty hard hitting. I'll tell you what, you wonder why veterans get upset when we see, I was nearly going to say the C word then, people burning the Australian national flag on the news. When I see that, I feel like putting my fucking fist through the TV. It just makes my blood boil. It's not on, and it should be a fucking offence to burn that flag there that's behind me. All right? It means a lot to not only serving members and ex-serving members and veterans, it means a lot to every Aussie. And burning it's not on. And those putrid fucking Labor mob reckons it's okay to burn the Australian national flag. I hope one of you sees this. I don't know who it is. Even if one Labor MP that voted against Phil Thompson, I hope you see this. You're a fucking piece of shit. That's how I think about it. It's disgusting. Fucking disgusting that our politicians would think an Australian politician would think it's okay to burn that flag. Show them that fucking video and then see. And then if they still think it's okay to burn the flag, and put one on their chin, I reckon. What do you reckon, guys? What do you reckon? I get really stirred up when you see that shit. And one of those guys there, Milosevic, I'm going to show you soon, guys. He's buried in my granddad in the Anzac part of the Mount Gravatt Cemetery in Brisbane. And I went and saw it with Gidgee December last year when I went down for the AC/DC concert. I went out to pay my respects to my granddad, and I've got some photos of their graves and that at Mount Gravatt. Milosevic, he was a light horseman, everyone, same as my grandfather. You see those soldiers in the video that had the emu plumes in their slouch hats? Well, they're cavalry boys. They're armoured corps. They wear a yellow lanyard, and they have silver buckles as opposed to brass buckles. They're from armoured corps. They're from one of the light horse units, okay? They don't ride horses anymore. They have armoured vehicles, but Milosevic was from 2nd 14 Light Horse Regiment, which is an Enogra-based thing, and he was killed over in Afghanistan. I think he was shot by an Afghani bloody so-called friendly soldier. Green on blue, they called it. We lost a lot of soldiers over there training the Afghani National Army, and some of them were baddies guys, and they turned on the Aussies. We lost a lot of Australian soldiers. They're there training these guys, thinking your mates, and next thing they're shooting you. Not on. And one of the guys who was shot, Captain Bryce Duffy, he's also, you'll see a picture of him soon, he's also buried near my grandfather at the Mount Gravatt Anzac plot at the Mount Gravatt Cemetery. Yeah, Phil said, if you didn't have a tear or lump in your throat watching that, you're not Australian. Exactly right, Phil. And I'll tell you what, mate, it bloody stirs my blood seeing that type of shit. Yeah. That's why we do Anzac Day, mate, isn't it? We do Anzac Day because of that. So there you go. My Pump Koala, Toddy. My granddad was in the 12th Light Horse, and my brother was in an armoured corps in the 1980s. Good stuff. Fantastic. 12th Light Horse. Yeah, that's what I mean. Speaking of light horse, everyone, I'm going to show you some of my granddad stuff soon. So I'll keep cracking on, or this is going to go too long. Righto, let's add the stage. Let's see if we'll keep cracking on with this. There you go. You know my thoughts on burning the Australian flag. I'd fucking love to come across one of those Labor politicians so I can put my hands around their fucking neck and strangle them like a chicken. That's how I think about it, everyone. Yeah. No, not allowed to let the flag touch the ground. Yeah, it's okay to burn it. Exactly right, Landy. And there's a thing there the other day. When I went to school, let's remove this arsehole for a bit. I'm sick of looking at his face, germ. Hopefully the coppers find him and put one right between his eyes. Right between his eyes. That's what he deserves. Anyway, yeah, when I was at school, everyone, and some of you older guys, Mr. Bullitt, school wasn't invented when Mr. Bullitt was at school, everyone. It was too long ago. The High Court of Australia is to blame. Yeah, they got some bloody explaining to do, Cliff, haven't they? Every morning when I was in primary school out in Surat and that, I remember we had to sing the national anthem, and back in those days, it was God Save the Queen. It was God Save the Queen back in my day. That's how old I am. And the bloody Aussie flag went up the flagpole at school. Bit of pride. Bring it back. Bring it back. But no, you'll have these fucking Labor politicians going, no, that's disrespectful to all the fucking immigrants coming in. Bullshit. And if they don't want to bloody respect the flag as it's going up the flagpole, fuck off back to your shit old country from where you once lived. That's my thoughts on it. You want to come and live here, then bloody toe the line. Have a bit of pride in the country. Assimilate. That's all we ask. No one's against immigration. None of us are against immigration. This country wouldn't be what it is today without immigration. But when you come here, then bloody play the game. Get some pride in Australia. Still practice your own culture and all that type of stuff. Absolutely. Practice your own religion. No one's got a problem with it. But don't come here and expect us to change our ways because you don't like it. If you don't like it, fuck off. There's a sticker getting around on the internet. Fit in or fuck off. Sorry for the language, guys, but it's one of those types of yeah, exactly right, Phil. Fit in or fuck off. You don't like this country, leave. There's a heap of international airports in this country. Find one of them and fuck off, as Lofty Evans would say. Yeah, Jim Nauman, one flag, one nation. Yeah, I know. That's our Australian national flag. I certainly don't have a problem with our other Indigenous flags flying alongside it. I don't have a problem with that at all, in recognising our Indigenous people. Not at all. But, yes, there's only one national flag, and that's it there, guys. That's it there. Righto. Now, let's go. Add to stage. Let's get this arsehole off, and let's keep going. There you go. Now, I'm going to keep it... or will I? No, I can't see your comments when I make the screen large, everyone. So that's my grandfather, Galbraith Philip Rogers. I was 2 years old when he passed away in 1967. I was born in 65. I don't remember him, everyone. I'm spewing. That's my dad's dad. He was in the 5th Light Horse Regiment and joined the Army 1915, just after Gallipoli. And he didn't get home from World War I until June 1919, because the 5th Light Horse Regiment, after the surrender of the Turks, the Ottoman Empire, they had to stay over in Egypt and quell an Egyptian uprising against the British Empire, and the 5th Light Horse stayed over for that, and the boys of the 5th Light Horse didn't get home till June 1919, everyone. So that's my granddad there, Galbraith Philip Rogers. My son is named after him, Philip. So there you go. And I got an Uncle Gil, Dad's brother, was Galbraith as well. Galbraith, his father was also Galbraith. So the name Galbraith, which is an old-fashioned name now, it's Gil for short, that runs strong in the Rogers family. There it is there, Galbraith. That's his plot at the Anzac part of the Mount Gravatt Cemetery in Brisbane, everyone. Me and Gidgee went out and saw him December last year. I took that photo December last year. And there's Nana. I remember Nana very well, Dad's mum. Nana there, Annie Gertrude, some old-fashioned names, Annie Gertrude Rogers and Galbraith Philip Rogers. 5th Light Horse, 1st Australian Imperial Force, and Woe 1. So my granddad, everyone, he also served in World War II, but was too old to go overseas. He was the Woe 1 then, and he was at the 11th Training Battalion. So he used to train soldiers before they went overseas to fight up to New Guinea and that. So during World War II, he didn't actually go over and fight the Japs, but he was training soldiers because he was an old World War I veteran, and he did see combat against the Turks in World War I, and actually got some shrapnel in his leg, and that apparently, I think Dad was telling me, was actually wounded in World War I. And like anything, he would had to have put his horse down. None of the whalers, none of the Australian whaler horses that the Light Horse rode, none of them made it home. They had to put them all down, guys. What a shame. So Granddad would have had to put his horse down after all they'd been through, put his horse down before he came home in 1919. So there you go. There's his grave. That's the colour patch of the 5th Light Horse Regiment, which was a Queensland regiment. Light blue over red. So, as you know, they all wore a colour patch. And I think this modern Australian Army now have gone back to wearing colour patches on the puggaree of their slouch hat. There it is, the 5th Light Horse badge. And I have one here, and I'll show you soon. There's Granddad's. That's the badge of the 5th Light Horse Regiment, everyone. It's got the big Q for Queensland. Queenslander. Should be maroon, I reckon. So 5th Light Horse was a Queensland regiment. 10th Light Horse, West Aussie. A lot of the Light Horse regiments came from whatever state. And what a wonderful badge that is. 5th Light Horse, AIF, Australian Imperial Force. So AIF was for the First World War. If you see second AIF, That was World War II. 2nd Australian Imperial Force was our soldiers during World War II. Got the emu and the boomerang through a big queue with the wreath around the outside. I think there's some cross. Oh, no, it's not. They're not cross swords at all. So that's a nice looking. And I'm pretty sure Gidgee Gorilla or my son, or maybe both, have got that badge tattooed on their arm, the 5th Light Horse. I think Gidgee's got that tattooed somewhere on his million tattoos on his arm. That's Captain Bryce Duffy, everyone, an artillery officer who just passed his SAS selection course before he went to Afghanistan. He was killed. They were doing a parade one morning, and a bloke I know, he's good mates with Gidgee, Glenn Reid. Glenn was also shot in this same incident. Glenn got a bullet through his leg, and it blew a hole like that out of the back of his leg. They were watching a morning Afghan National Army parade, and a guy came out with a belt-fed machine gun, one of the Afghani soldiers, who was obviously a Taliban sympathiser, and just unloaded on the Aussies that were watching the morning parade. Bryce Duffy was killed along with 2 others, and Glenn and 3 others were wounded. Glenn and his mates were rushed to a hospital in Kandahar and then to Germany. And Glenn did a lot of rehabilitation, blew the whole back of his leg out. Glenn was the bloke who actually shot the guy. When he got shot and fell to the ground, he got one through his leg. He actually cocked his stire and actually shot that Afghani soldier dead. And Captain Bryce Duffy was one of the people shot in that incident. 7 Australians in one incident, guys. 3 dead, 4 wounded in one incident. And they were there watching, they were in combat, they were there watching a morning parade of the Afghani National Army. They were there training the Afghani army. And one of them turned on them. We had a lot of green on blue incidents there. It's how Milosevic died as well, who you'll see in a minute. Captain Bryce Duffy is buried right near my grandfather, everyone, in Mount Gravatt. Rest in peace, Bryce. There's his thing. He's just across from Granddad. Killed in action, 26 years old. You know, there you go. Mum and dad and brother and sister. Dear, oh dear. Good young officer by the sounds of it. Private Tim Applin was killed in I think he was a commando, Timmy Applin, and he was killed in Afghanistan. Private Tim Applin is also buried. Yeah, he is commandos. I tell by the weapon he's got an M4 there, guys. The commandos and SAS used M4s and other types of weapons, whereas the mainstream Australian Army used Steyr. So Private Tim Applin, I think he was 2nd Commando Regiment. He wasn't SASA, he was in the Commando Regiment. So Timmy is buried beside Grandad as well at Mount Gravatt. And Milosevic, who we saw in that video, everyone. Milosevic, what was his first name? Milana. Had a dad of 2 young kids. He was a dad, bloody hell, married. I've got his name, his first name, Miran Milosevic, or obviously from a Croatian background or something like that, but obviously an Aussie lad. Good photo of him on the internet, and he's sitting there watching the footy with his 2 daughters in his Wallabies jersey and a Wallabies blanket over the top of him watching the rugby union, part of 2nd 14 Light Horse Regiment. Everyone, that's why you can tell the Light Horsemen in World War I, they wore an emu plume in their slouch hat, and they still do it to this day for ceremonial reasons. So if you ever see an Aussie soldier with the emu feathers in his hat, he's a Light Horseman. So Milosevic is buried near Grandad as well. There is Stefan Milosevic, and his nickname was Milo, obviously, M-I-L-O, Milosevic, 2nd 14th Light Horse Regiment. Age 40, married with 2 young kids, killed 29th of August 2012 by a bloody, another green on blue, I'm pretty sure. Dear, oh dear. We'll go back to there. So there was a couple of those. You saw that one on the video. 5 soldiers coming home in one incident. The 2 guys in the green berets, guys, Mervyn and the other lad, they were commandos. So the commandos wear the green berets with the wing, not the wing dagger, sorry, just the dagger, the commando dagger. They were killed in a helicopter accident over there. And the other 3, I think, were killed in combat, and Stefan was killed by green on blue. And I think one of the young lads was an engineer, and he was out detecting IEDs and was blown up by an IED or a mine. Okay, we lost a few combat engineers over there getting blown up. A lot of them got blown up with their dogs. They had their sniffer dogs. And the Avenue of Honour in Yungaburra, up the road from me, got a beautiful, it's called the Avenue of Honour. It's a memorial for the 41 Australian soldiers killed in Afghanistan. And Milosevic, Stefan's name's on that one. If you're ever up this way, yell out, guys, and make sure you get to Yungaburra and look up the Avenue of Honour. Anyone who did my tag-along tour after the Drifter event at Lake Tinaroo, you would have got, I took everyone to that, and there were people in tears reading all the signs and everything. There's also some veterans from the Battle of Long Tan that are buried near Grandad. Kenneth Gant was killed 18th of August. We lost 19 soldiers in that, everyone. Battle of Long Tan, 19 soldiers in one hit we lost there. They were up against thousands of North Vietnamese Army and Viet Cong, and won the US presidential citation for that battle. They all died with their face towards the enemy. Kenneth Gant was one of them. He's buried near Grandad, killed in the Battle of Long Tan, and Warren Mitchell as well, killed in action, Battle of Long Tan. So he's buried near Grandad as well. And I've got good news on the plates soon, everyone. So let's minimize that and remove. So there you go. Now, speaking of which, let's just quickly, Grandad's medals. They're only his replicas, everyone. So these two here, these two here, his World War I medals, the Victory Medal and the British Empire Medal. They're the two from World War I. And he got these ones here. That's the, I forget the names of them now. But anyway, they're World War II medals, and they're his bloody World War I medals, everyone. And in this box here, I think I must have got these when Uncle Mal died. I've got some of his, it looks like his originals, everyone. Granddad's original medals, still in a box that I got from when Dad passed away. Yeah, so I haven't got these put together or anything. So they're the original medals and ribbons in the box there. And what else have I got? I said there, I've put this against some background. That's his Granddad's 5th Light Horse badge, which I just dropped. I found that in the box as well. There's his 5th Light Horse badge he would have worn on his hat. This here was issued to British cavalry. Now, the Australian Light Horse weren't cavalry guys. They were bloody mounted infantry. But I don't know whether he got that off a British cavalry person or whether the Light Horse, he was issued that to wear on his uniform. I think some, even though the Australian Light Horse weren't cavalry, they may have still worn the cross sabres. But Australian Light Horse didn't have sabres. They didn't use swords like the British cavalry. They just had a bloody 303 and their bayonet guys. They went in with a bayonet. They didn't have, they were mounted infantry. So normally they got off their horses and charged on foot. But during Beersheba, they stayed on their horses and they took that. What else we got here? Old original Rising Sun badge that they still wore. Australian Commonwealth Military Forces. It's now on the Rising Sun badge. Modern day soldiers. It's just the Australian Army on there. But back in Granddad's day, it was the Australian Commonwealth Military Forces. The old Rising Sun badge. There's another one there. And here we go. Steve W., if you see this, or Andy Riches. Prior to 1976, that's his rank from when he was a Warrant Officer Class 1 in World War II. And that's the British coat of arms. And they used to call that the galloping horses. And they're not horses. One's a lion. There's a lion on top of the crown. One of those is a lion, and the other one's a unicorn representing Scotland, which is a horse with a thing. So that's the British coat of arms. And they used to call it the galloping horses. When you got your galloping horses, it means you got promoted to the rank at Warrant Officer Class 1. Now, from 1976 onwards, I think it was 76, a Warrant Officer Class 1 in the Australian Army wears the Australian coat of arms with the kangaroo and the emu. Really, really good looking badge there. Now, I'm going to blow some wind up my own ass for a minute because I don't think I've ever showed you mine. I had a rant about assistant police commissioners and the amount of bullshit ribbons and medals for participation awards. Well, they're my medals, guys. I don't ever wear them, as you can see. I don't even wear them on Anzac Day. I'll hand them down to my grandson one day or my granddaughter. So mine, this one here, they go in precedence of order. Obviously, if Ben Robert Smith of Victoria Cross would be the first medal. So every medal's there's a precedence of where they're worn. But anyway, the ones I've got, the one that's worn closest to your heart is that one there. That's the Australian Active Service Medal, the AASM, if you serve on operations overseas, and you get a clasp on there for what theatre you served in. That one there says East Timor. So I went over to East Timor 99, 2000 as part of INIFET. Bit of bloody chuck the Indonesians out. Okay, and East Timor's its own country now, Timor-Leste. So that's the Australian Active Service Medal with a Timor class. You'll have soldiers who've been to Timor and Afghanistan, Iraq. They'll just get a different class saying Iraq, Afghanistan, or whatever. That's the INIFET medal. There were something like 20 different countries over in Timor that went over to bloody quell the shit that was going on over there, people getting murdered and whatever, get the country back under control, get the Indonesians out of there and the Indonesian-backed militia who were killing everyone, and turn it into a country. And we finally got there. I went over when it bloody INIFET first went in, 99, 2000. That's the INIFET medal, that one there. Every soldier who was part of INIFET got that, whether you were from Australia, New Zealand, the UK. The UK had soldiers there. They had the Special Boat Service, SBS. The Gurkhas were over there, everyone. The Brazilians were there. I've got a list of what countries were part of INIFET. And there was a lot. People think, it's just the Aussies and Kiwis went over there. Australia, New Zealand, Thailand. I remember seeing the Thais over there. Bangladeshis. I didn't see any Bangladeshis there. There must have been a couple of them floating around. The Brazilians were there, and the Brazilians were mainly used to do close quarter protection on Xanana Gusmao, everyone he fought against the Indonesians for 20 years. Xanana Gusmao became the first president of East Timor, and I've stood within a couple of meters of Xanana Gusmao. He used to come into Special Forces headquarters all the time to see my boss, the colonel, the Special Forces colonel. So, yeah, I stood right beside Xanana Gusmao, who was the first president of East Timor, and he was protected by Brazilian soldiers because they could speak Portuguese, and Gusmao spoke Portuguese. Up in Timor, they spoke Portuguese, everyone. And one of our SAS warrant officers, I won't say his name, Bobby, he was in charge of that Brazilian detachment, in charge of protection for Xanana Gusmao, because they all knew he was going to become the first president of East Timor. Canadians had a battalion there slacking down at on the Indonesian border, a place called Suai, and I went down there, and the Canadians were in the shittiest place you can imagine. They were like in a swamp, and I thought, you poor bastards, imagine being stuck in there. So the Canadians had an infantry battalion. Denmark had some there. I don't remember seeing anyone from Denmark. Egypt, once again, didn't see any Egyptians there. Fijians, I saw the Fijians there. The Frogs, the French were there, and we were near the Jesus statue in Dili one day, and it was just after we won the World Cup, Rugby World Cup, and 3 of the Wallabies came up to East Timor with Bill, the rugby trophy. Anyway, we're down on the beach having a couple of beers, as Aussie soldiers do. We're having a couple of beers, got our weapons slung in footy shorts and T-shirts, having a beer with our weapons with us, having a bit of downtime. The French are on patrol. The French come past, and we go, "Hey, boys, come down." So the Frogs stop their vehicles, and they come down. They're all in their spray-on camouflage uniforms. They used to wear their uniforms like 3 sizes too tight for them. Anyway, we said, "You want a beer, boys?" We had the Eskies with us on the beach, and they went, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Come on, have a beer with us." Anyway, we were ragging out on because we just beaten France in the Rugby World Cup not long ago. And anyway, we had a chat with the French, and most of them could speak English. So definitely had a chat with the French there. The Germans had people there. I don't remember seeing the Germans. The Irish had their Rangers there. Irish Rangers were there. I remember seeing them. I remember seeing the Italians there because they come in a Special Forces headquarters wanting to go jumping out of perfectly good aeroplanes with the SAS boys. I think our boss said, boys, we're not here to jump out of planes. We're here to do a job at the moment, and jumping out of planes isn't part of it. Jordan had people there that would, Jordan, don't remember that. Kenya, don't remember seeing them there. Malaysia had troops there. Pakistan, Norway, Philippines. Good story for you. One night, the Filipinos knew we had beer, and they come over one day and they said to me, they go, have you got beer? I said, yeah, we got beers. And they go, can we come over? It was New Year's Eve, year 2000. New Year's Eve on the year 2000, Filipino officers come over. They saw me. Hey, Sergeant Major, you got beers, have you? Yeah. If we bring food over tonight for New Year's, could we get some beers off you, and we'll bring some Filipino food over? Anyway, the Filipinos come over with a banquet, everyone, and we were giving them bloody cold beers all night, and they fed us, and it was beautiful. So the Filipinos, good lads, bloody good lads. I had a great night. Portuguese were there, obviously. They came in with the United Nations after we left. The Portuguese, Singaporeans were there, South Koreans were there. The UK were there, as I said, and the Yanks. The Yanks weren't on land. They had the USS Blue Ridge out offshore, just as a bit of a keeping an overseer on what was going on. The Yanks didn't get it too involved, but we actually went out to the USS Blue Ridge one day and ate all their soft serve ice cream on the ship. That was good. The Yanks are going, get the Aussies off our ship. They're eating all our ice cream. So that was bloody funny as. So there you go. Now, Trumpy's come out recently and upset everybody and said that the NATO forces didn't do anything in Afghanistan. It was all the Americans doing everything. And he's upset a lot of people, including Andrew Hastie has come out. Well, all these nations here, when Article 5 was in, they got Article 5 up and running after the planes went into the tower. It's the only time Article 5, which means if a NATO nation is attacked, that the other NATO countries come to their assistance. Well, guess what? Trump seems to forget this. The planes flew into those towers and they got Article 5 up and running. And these are the countries that came and helped out the United States in Afghanistan, everyone. And I'll tell you how many troops they lost over there in Afghanistan. United Kingdom, the POMs, 457. This is dead. Canada, 159. France, 90. Germany, 62. Italy, 53. Poland, 44. Denmark, 43. The country you just wanted to invade. Denmark, 43, came to the US's assistance. Australia, 41. We weren't a NATO country, but we went in anyway just to help our mates out. Spain, 35. Georgia, not a NATO country. Used to be USSR. Georgia lost 32 soldiers and went in to help the Yanks in Afghanistan. Romania, 27. Netherlands, 25. Turkey, 15. Czech Republic, 14. New Zealand, non-NATO country. The Kiwis lost 10 soldiers over in Afghanistan, everyone. Norway, 10. Estonia, 9. Hungary, 7. Sweden, 5. Sweden wasn't NATO. They are now. They weren't at the time. Latvia, 4. Slovakia, 3. Finland lost 2 soldiers over there helping the Yanks. They weren't NATO at the time, but went in anyway. Jordan, 2. Non-NATO. Portugal, South Korea, Albania, Belgium, Croatia, Lithuania, Montenegro. So there's a couple of countries in there, Australia, New Zealand, a couple others there that weren't NATO countries, and we still went in and helped the Yanks. And then the big orange fella comes out the other day and says, all the NATO troops, they just stayed back and didn't really get involved. It was just the American troops doing everything over there. Yeah, the Yanks lost a lot of people over there, but so did all those countries who went over to help. I think it was about a third of all the thing. When you add all those up, it was about a third of what America lost. They're all over there helping the Americans. Someone should have taken him aside, Hegseth, and said, hey, Mr. President, don't say shit like that, because there's about 1,500 Allied soldiers, non-American, that lost their lives in Afghanistan over here helping us. So you can't be saying that type of shit. Absolute bullshit. Anyway, let's go back through my notes and then we'll finish off with some funny shit, eh? What pisses me off? That's coming. Yeah, no, that's about it. What pisses Buck off? Arseholes who burn the Australian national flag for a start, and lazy pricks who don't take their shopping trolleys back to the shopping trolley bloody thing, leave them lying around so that cars hit them and that they can run into cars. That pisses me off, guys. Lazy pricks who don't take their shopping trolleys back. If you're one of those in the chat room that doesn't take their shopping trolleys back, give yourself an uppercut. Spend an extra 2 minutes after you put your groceries back in the car and walk the shopping trolley back to the little things and push it in. So the trolley collection bloke, so they don't go rolling into cars. You should see some of the scars on the BT50 from shopping trolleys. Some of them are down to the metal. It pisses me off. ORFF, everyone. Yeah. Yeah, we all know that, mate. We all know he's a loose cannon. You know me, guys. I'm not one of these guys who just loves him or hates him. If he does good stuff, I say. If he does shit stuff, I say. And he's been doing some shit stuff lately. Let's face it. And when you come out and criticise all those countries there that lost soldiers and say they didn't contribute, they weren't on the front line, it just goes to show the guy has no fucking clue on what goes on in the rest of the world. He's clueless. Sitting there talking about Greenland the other day, and he's referring to it as Iceland. Well, he doesn't even know his countries. It's embarrassing. John, Mike, it must be embarrassing. The bloke in charge of your country making an absolute fool. He left Greenland. He left Switzerland with his tail between his legs and come home. All his talk of invading Greenland and all that's gone quiet, hasn't it? Because the Europeans, and good on them, stuck together and must have had a quiet word with him over there. And he's come scuttling back to the United States with his tail between his legs. Yeah. Bloody needs to pull his head in. He got what he wanted when he went over there. I want to up the military presence in Greenland. The Europeans went, absolutely you can, and we'll help you. That's all you had to say. You didn't have to talk about invading Greenland. Like, where does he get that shit from? He's a fucking idiot sometimes. He really is. Absolute fucking idiot. Now, let's finish off with some funny stuff. Victoria again. Could it be any other state but Victoria? There was something there the other day. I don't know who they were. It might have been a bunch of cyclists in their tight lycra. Phil Taylor. I think Phil Taylor wears lycra. Don't you, Phil? When you go, there he is. I think Phil Taylor is a lycra wearer. He likes his push bikes, and I think he wears lycra. So a guy in Victoria the other day, the Victorians are doing a BOLF. Be on the lookout for a jogger who ran past a bunch of cyclists, I think it was, and yelled out, "Puffs!" So if you don't know what a puff is, it was a word we used to use years and years ago. It meant Homer. It was a funny way of saying Homer. Hey, Mike Blakely's on. Mike's probably, just so you know, but not everyone agrees with what Trump is doing. In my opinion, he's an absolute embarrassment. He is not all the time, Mike. He does some good stuff, but he does some silly shit too. He's a dead set, A-grade diddly donk. He is diddly donk numero uno. The big Trumpster, he's a dead set diddly donk. He's a cockhead. He's up himself. He's a narcissist. It's all about him, and he only surrounds himself with people that are willing to lick his ass. Excuse the expression there, but ass lickers, and they all are. It's pathetic to see it, especially that Caroline Levitt, that little blonde bimbo, his press secretary, sitting there fluttering her eyelids at him, and oh my God, it makes you sick. But anyway, so what he said about, and even Prince Harry, who served 2 tours of Afghanistan, one as an Apache attack helicopter. He was in a bloody Apache, and the other one he was in a normal infantry unit. Harry's seen action, everyone, over in Afghanistan, and even Prince Harry's come out and went, not on. I lost a lot of mates over in Afghanistan, and here's the president saying, oh, the NATO forces didn't get involved on the front line. Bullshit. Just shows you how out of touch he is with everything. Those friggin' countries that I just mentioned, come to the Americans, United States aid after 9/11, and I can vouch for it. I was at the SAS regiment at the time, guys. We had SAS boys leave Campbell Barracks and went overseas very, very shortly after those planes hit the towers. Very shortly after. We were one of the first countries that sent troops over to help the Americans. And the bloody Trumpy needs to remember that. He really does. So anyway, back to Victoria. It can only happen in Victoria. A jogger has run past, and I think it was a bunch of cyclists in their lycra gear, and yelled out puffs. Well, one of the thin-skinned bastards has gone running to the police and gone, someone ran past and called us pufters. Pufter Mike, puff over here is just it's a word that you can't say anymore because of how touchy-feely we are. But back, it used to be on TV in the day, in comedy shows, and you'll see that in a minute. So the Victorian police have now gone, we want to know who this man is. And it was a grainy photo of a bloke in his running shorts, no shirt on. He's run past and yelled out puffs to someone, and they've reported him to the police for hate speech. Come on. Come on. There's a difference between that and hate speech. That is not hate speech, everyone. Now, listen, if one of them caught up with him and give him a clip around the ear, fair enough. He serves it, serves him right. If you're going to yell that out, you want to be able to run fast, okay? But the Victorian police now want to speak to him in relation to hate speech and all that. Come on, have we got that thin-skinned, everyone, where we can't, like, someone ran past me and said that to me, I'd probably laugh and wave at him. Anyway, I'm going to present something to you. This is how the TV was back in the 70s. This is from a show called It Ain't Half Hot, Mum. And I'm only going to show a very short snippet. I was going to show the full bit, and because it's from the BBC, I'll probably get copyrighted and shut down. So I'm only going to show, but this is what TV was like. It was used as a bit of a comedy word. When I was working at the prison, if Toddy Schloss didn't call me a puff 10 times a day, what are you up to, you big puff? Like, I'm not sitting here. It was just a throwaway word. It's what we used to call fairies and feminine type blokes back in the day. If someone didn't play rugby and preferred to play Aussie rules up here in Queensland, I play Aussie rules, I don't play rugby. Oh, you big puff. How come? Why aren't you playing rugby? That's how we used to talk back in the day. And I'm not going back that far, am I? We didn't mean anything by it. It was just a bloody one of those Aussie slang words that we used to throw around. It comes from the British, and us Aussies used to use it. I know the Yanks, it's not a word the Yanks use, puff or puffter. It's the way you say it. If you go up into a gay bar and go in and start ranting and calling them that name, then it becomes an issue. When you're using it as a bit of banter and all that, is it so bad? We need to get a bit of thicker skin. Anyway, This Ain't Half Hot, Mun. It's a comedy from the 1970s. It's a pommy comedy. The RSM, the Sergeant Major in here, he's a artillery sergeant major, and he's been put in charge of a concert group. And they are Royal Artillery, and they used to go around and do concerts for all the troops during World War II. It's set in World War II. They used to go around and do concerts and that to keep the morale of the troops up. The Sergeant Major hated being in charge of them because he thought they were all a bunch of fairies. They weren't real soldiers, and he used to get up them. If you've seen this show, you'll know what I'm on about. Anyway, here we go. Present. This is funny. It's only a very short snippet of it. Share the screen. Here we go. Get ready for this one. So they're rehearsing for a concert, and they're all dressed up. Little Lofty, the little short bloke here. This is one of the best comedies to ever grace TV, everyone. And as you can see, some of them are dressed up as females. They're doing a play. They're rehearsing for a play, and they go around and entertain the troops. They were in India or Burma or something at the time. So the Sergeant Major, have a listen to this. And now the Victorian police are after a guy for saying this exact word. So the Sergeant Major lets him know what he thinks of him. Watch this one. I'll make it bigger. I'll make the screen bigger. Volume up, yeah. Here we go.
Right, lovely boys. Let's have a look at you. Disgusting! Never have I seen such a display of blatant puffery. Never in all my life!
So hey, there you go, everyone. That's the short version. That's the Sergeant Major getting up him. And yeah, puffery. He used to call them puffs all the time on that TV show. It was a funny word back in those days. It meant you're talking about a fairy or a feminine sort of guy or whatever. If you used it in the wrong context, yeah, it's not a nice word. But back in those days, it was comedy. And now the Victorian police are after someone for calling someone a puff in Victoria. Is that where we've got to now, everyone? Have we become that thin-skinned where if someone calls me a puff, I go and report it to the police? Come on, let's get some thicker skin. Put a bloody spoon of concrete in your coffee tomorrow morning and harden up, everyone. That is absolutely. Yeah, and Mike, you missed I did the weather report at the start, mate, and it was bloody cold where you are. Mike's saying -9 in Colorado at the moment. Mike, you must be excited. The Broncos are taking on the New England Patriots to win the AFC. And if the Broncos win that one, mate, you're through to the Super Bowl. So, Michael, I'm sure you're a Broncos supporter, mate. Denver Broncos versus the New England Patriots. And then the other one is Los Angeles Rams versus the Seahawks. They're both from the NFC West, the 49ers thing. So, anyway, I reckon it's going to be Seahawks versus Patriots. I hope your Broncos get in, but Mike, I really do. I won't put that up. It's got the C word. Yeah, I know. We use the C word here in Australia all the time. I call me brother. Hey, C, how are you? Like, it's just, but it's not a word, the C word. I try not to use it on this channel, everyone, because some kids and that can be watching. That's a word that you use between your mates, and we use it far too often now in Australia. The Aussies and the Irish are the two worst countries for using the C word. I know it's very, very still frowned upon in America. We use it all the time here in Australia, but it's, once again, it's one of those words on the context. If you're just talking between a bunch of mates, but sometimes, yeah, it's not a word you use in front of old ladies and that, is it? So, yeah, that's right. The police have got more important things to do than finding someone who was going for a morning jog and saw a bunch of bloody lycra-wearing cyclists and yelled out puffs to them. He was probably having a joke at them. I hope he was. I hope he just meant it as a joke. And if he didn't, and he got a smack in the teeth, then it serves him right. Take Buck to see a psychiatrist. He's losing his mind. The hate for Trump has made him blind to see the truth. Look at what Albo's doing to Aussies. Tell Buck, go see Albo. Yeah, don't get me started on Albo. I'm not an Albo fan. Nature lover, I'm not an Albo fan, mate. I don't like the Labor government. But who have we got at the moment, everyone? Who's the opposition? This is what I was going to mention before. Who was the opposition in this country now? It ain't the Liberals. One Nation's overtaken the Liberals. The LNP party is in tatters at the moment. The Nationals have said, we're going. We don't want to be part of yous anymore after this vote. So, and I'll tell you now, in 2 years' time, in 2028, when the elections come up again, guess who's going to get in again? Albo again. Get ready for it, because he's going to get in again, everyone, because we got no opposition. They're their own worst enemy. Peter Dutton ran the last election and made an absolute balls up of it, an absolute meal of it, which is why Albo's back in now. And now, instead of getting stronger and rebuilding, have a look at them. There's going to be an overthrow shortly. Susan Lee, who shouldn't have been the leader in the first place because she's as woke as you know what. All right. Who's going to take over? Angus Houston, not Angus Campbell, Angus someone, or Hasty. They're talking about Hasty taking over. Everyone's against him at the moment because he went with the party thing and he voted yes in this bloody bill that's just come out. He certainly didn't vote yes for the Australian flag. None of the Liberals did that one, to their credit. It was the putrid Labor Party that voted against the bill to make burning the Australian flag an offence. So, mate, I'm not going to sit here and rag out on Albo and all that. And I'm not one of these people who goes, Trump's the greatest and blow wind up his ass. I'm not one of those people. He's done some putrid shit recently, mate. The Greenland, and if you agree with Greenland, him about invading Greenland, if you think that's a good thing, then you're probably on the wrong channel, mate. You probably need to go on one of your far right-wing American channels, and you can go on that one, because he was talking about invading another NATO country. He's just ragging out on NATO troops and Australian troops. He's put us all in the same basket. Oh, those troops weren't on the front line. They didn't really do anything in Afghanistan. You just saw how many casualties each of those countries. The Poms lost 457. 41 Aussies didn't come home. 267 badly wounded Australian soldiers in Afghanistan. And he's there ragging on us, saying we weren't on the front line. Bullshit. He's a piece of shit. And he's a bloody idiot. He does a couple of good things, and then for every good thing he does about 9 retarded things. He really does. So, mate, yeah, if he needs bagging out, I'll bag the prick out. I'll bag anyone out if you deserve it. Okay? Like Andrew Hastie. I was very pro Andrew Hastie. Lost all respect for the guy now after I found out it was him who ragged out Ben Roberts-Smith, and he voted yes. He was a yes man. They just went with their woke leader, Susan Lee, who's as woke as fuck. She said, we will be Liberal Party and National Party. We're going to be voting yes to this. And apparently it's, you've got to toe the party line. Bullshit. If you're from an electorate that's got a heap of farmers, and fucked if I would have been voting yes to that. But no, they all rolled over and did what she said. Did what Susan, and what's happening now? The Liberals, Nationals are in disarray. And now there's going to be a spill, and they're going to have get another leader. And Hastie, if Hastie had voted no and was going for leadership now, I tell you what, he'd have some massive support. But he rolled over and voted yes. And there's a lot of people that have he's lost them. He's lost the room. Liberals are in disarray, everyone. And you know who's sitting in the background, getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger? The One Nation Party. Fair chance I'll be voting for them next election. Pauline, she's been, and you've got to give it to her, she's stuck to her guns for the last 20 years. What she was saying 20 years ago, here we are still talking about it. She's stuck to her guns, that lady, and she's said some silly things too. There's no doubt about that. But she stuck to her guns, and her party is on the rise, everyone. And they reckon next election, there's a fair chance that Labor will probably be the government again, and the opposition is going to be One Nation. Not the Liberals, Nationals, it's going to be One Nation. And she might have a little bit more pull there and keeping them in line. What do you reckon, everyone? I don't know. I talk a lot of politics on here. I know everyone's divided. Everyone's got different opinions. But whoever that was talking about Trumpy, because I'm not supporting Trump, mate, I won't support Trump when he's talking about invading a NATO country and when he's bragging out on NATO and coalition countries, saying that their troops didn't fucking fight on the front lines. It was only Americans that did. Bullshit. That's putrid, mate. Prince Harry's up in arms about it. Andrew Hastie, the bloody British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has finally found a set of balls, and he's come out and he's given it to Trump. He said, I had 457 fucking British soldiers die in Afghanistan, and here you are saying that my soldiers were in the background and weren't fighting on the front line. Fucking bullshit. He says some retarded stuff, Trump. He really does. And he deserves all the flack he's getting at the moment. If he does some good shit, I'll call him out. I'll say, good work, Trumpy. I agree with you on that. But I'll tell you what, I haven't agreed with him the last few weeks. I really haven't. He's been doing some stuff that I really don't agree with. Pauline for opposition leader. Won't she put a cat amongst the pigeons when she does that? Anyway, guys, listen, I've been on for a long time. 2.5 hours. 2.5. I don't want it to go anywhere near 3. I'll just quickly check my notes. What do you reckon about this morning, everyone? Bit of a diverse thing. A lot of bad news there. the bloody avalanches and the hill slides in New Zealand and Indonesia, terrible. The friggin' animal attacks. We lost a young 11, 12-year-old boy. What was his name? Nico something. You know, poor little fella. Just out enjoying life, wasn't he? Jumping off some rocks into the water. We all do it. We've all swum in the ocean. And these people are going, he's swimming in there. Friggin' doesn't mean you deserve to get eaten either. And to his little mate that swam out and dragged him to shore so that the ambulance could get there and try and save his life. Good on you, young fella. Bloody balls of steel. Knew there was a shark in there. His mate's just been bloody hit by a bull shark, and he's jumped in and dragged his mate to safety. Hope he gets a bravery award, that young fella. Go 3 hours, Lukey Reed reckons. Yeah, I know. Bloody. Anyway, yeah, so the young Canadian girl on Fraser Island, everyone. Dear or Gary, whatever you want to call it. We all know it as Fraser Island. Yeah, young girl probably shouldn't have been by herself, but still, sometimes you do silly things. You don't deserve to lose your life. I hope she drowned. They find out that she drowned before the dingoes got her, for her sake and the dingo's sake. Because if those dingoes, if they find that she was killed by dingoes before she drowned or whatever the case may be, I think the dingoes are going to be getting culled on Fraser, everyone. They need to cut down. They need to set up food stations. I've said that before. I don't want to see the dingoes get culled. I do want to see sharks and crocodiles get culled, however. And foxes, do we need to cull the foxes? Because someone in Victoria got towed up by a fox. Can you believe that? Mike, we talked before. A bloke got hospitalised down in Victoria because a fox got him. Now, I reckon if he was a Queenslander or a New South Welshman, he would have beaten the fox up and the fox would have run away. But being a bloody limp-wristed, left-wing Victorian, the fox got the better of him. I'm only joking, Vix. I'm only having a joke with you. And I said before, I think the fox must have had a couple of VBs, got a bit of Dutch courage up and went, I'm going to go and pick a blue with a human. And he got the better of him. The bloke ended up in hospital from a fox. So there you go. The Aussie foxes, Mike, they're pretty tough over here. They can put you in hospital. Sad case, a young Canadian girl, mate. Looks like some dingoes might have got her on Fraser or she's drowned, but the dingoes definitely got to her. Young boy taken by a shark. 3 other shark attacks within 4 shark attacks in 3 days. Goodness me, landslides. The most disturbing thing is that the Labor Party voted against the burning of the Australian national flag. If there's a law we need in this country, that should be it. That thing is sacred, everyone. That flag in front of us is sacred. And you know what it means to me after seeing that ramp ceremony video I showed you today. That's what that flag means to Aussie veterans. And I'll tell you what, no one better try and burn it in front of me. I might be 60, but I'll still be throwing uppercuts at them, let me tell you. What else do we talk about? The engine mount's getting fixed in the BT50. All those, some of those guys that you saw on the video, Milosevic, Milo, buried near my grandfather, along with Bryce Duffy and Tim Applin, everyone who were killed in Afghanistan. 3 Afghanistan veterans buried right near my granddad at Mount Gravatt, who's a light horseman, and also some guys who lost their lives during the Battle of Long Tan in Vietnam. Something I'm very proud of. If you ever get to Brisbane, everyone, and you're out around Mount Gravatt way, go to the Mount Gravatt Cemetery and go and have a look at the Anzac plot there. My Uncle Gil's buried there. I've got family in there, everyone. Mount Gravatt, go to the Anzac section. Make you proud to be an Aussie. It really does. Yeah, so what pisses Buck off? Shopping trolleys. Take your shopping trolleys back, everyone. Don't burn the Aussie flag. Don't be a shit C. That's who burns Aussie flags, shit C's. Anyway, Buck, 34 days before the Knights and the Cows play in Vegas. Is it 34 days? Only a month away yet. Almost footy season, everyone. Oh, wow, Jeffrey Keane. Tim Applin is a relative of mine. There you go, Jeffrey. Well, you'll be pleased to know, mate, Tim is buried very close to my granddad, mate, at Mount Gravatt in Brisbane. I'm sure it was Timmy. Yeah, Timmy Applin. He was in Commandos, mate. Second Commando Regiment. 2 Commando Regiment. It was. They wear the green berets, and those 2 guys that you saw with the green berets on in the video were from 2 Commando, everyone, which is a New South Wales-based unit, and they were killed in a helicopter accident over there. Sid Archie, yay, Aussie. Aussie, he's a big Trumpy fan, Aussie. He doesn't like it when I have a go at Trumpy, but I'll tell you what, mate, I'll argue with you any day over that one. Trump having a go at the troops on the front line and talking about invading Greenland. I will disagree with anyone over that shit. If you want to support Trump over what he said there, we're going to disagree, boys. No way. Ty Fenwick, 100% agree. Tariffs are a big stick to negotiate, and it's working. Yeah. He come back from Switzerland with his tail between his legs. Canada's fighting back at the moment. He's put 100% tariffs on Canada, and Canada's gone, stick it in your ass. We're going to go and deal with China. We're going to do more trade with China, and that's who most of our trade is, with China. Can you imagine Australia? You imagine how bare Bunnings would be, everyone, if nothing from China was in that shop. It'd be bare. Same as BCF and Anaconda and Kings and all our favourite stores. If we didn't import from China, our stores would be bare. An electrician here the other day, putting switches and fans and that in. Where do you reckon all that comes from? Not here, China. Everything's made over there. Without them, we would be on our knees in a week. If China stopped trading with us, we'd be rat shit. Anyway, Canada's gone, see, America, we're going to go and deal with China. And that's all because of one bloke. Anyway, you're either for him or against him. I'm not against him, and I'm not for him. I'm on the fence. I call all politicians, same as our Prime Minister. If he does something good, I'll tell him. I'll say, yeah, I agree with what Albo just did. And if he does something putrid, I'll disagree with him. That's the way I am, guy. I just call it as I see it. I don't take sides, and then if you take one side, you've got to be on that side. I just call things as I see it. That's the way I've always been and the way I'll always be. I think that's how we need to be as Australians, is sit back and don't just be Labor or Liberal. Sit back and have a look and go, I agree, he's doing some good stuff there. And then when it comes election time, you're obviously going to vote for the person who can do the most for you or do the most for this country. And that's the way we do. It's a democracy. I don't agree with the way our votes, this preference, and you watch it when the orange people, One Nation, get stronger and stronger, and the news is already saying, you watch on the next election, if the Liberal government is as weak as what they are at the moment, they're going to start, the 2 big parties are going to start preferencing each other against One Nation. And that's going to be, that's our country's doomed when the 2 big parties who are supposed to be keeping each other on their toes are in bed with each other. Anyway, I hope that bloody Susan Lee, I hope she loses her position soon. But if Hastie takes over, he's going to have to work hard to get the trust of these people back again, because he's got a lot of people offside. Right up until the deadline, he was going, oh, I don't agree with this bill. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. And then he went, I voted for it. I voted yes. And everyone just went, what the fuck? How do you do that? Good on those 3 nationals for voting no. And then they said, here's our fucking resignation. We stand by our principles. Good on those 3 politicians. That's what we need here. Politicians. That's why I like Bob Katter. He's senile and he's going a bit silly, everyone. But Bob bloody wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's proud, and he tries to stick up for Aussies, doesn't he? Oh, Bob says some silly stuff. And I'm like that. I'm a big Bob Katter fan, everyone. I love Bob Katter. But when he does silly shit, I'll call him out on it. That's the way I am. You've got to call stuff as you see it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I know. Trump's got a bit of a shady history, but he's the president of the United States. And anyway, I'm just glad I'm not a Yank at the moment. It's a bit embarrassing seeing what he's doing. All right, everyone, enjoy your Australia Day. I am going to go to the butcher, or if the butcher's not open, I'm going to go to Coles, get some meat. I'm going to have a barbecue tomorrow. It's going to be hard not having a beer tomorrow. I'm off the piss. I'm staunch. I'm going to stay off it. I'm going to have a barbecue tomorrow and have a Coke Zero or something, or a bloody, what else can I have? An orange juice or something. Pretty sad, isn't it? Not having a beer on Aussie Day. Anyway, enjoy Australia Day. Just remember, we do still live in, as bad as we make it out to be, we still live in a good country, everyone. We live in, there's a lot worse countries out there, isn't there? So it's up to us to maintain the standards that this country expects, or that we expect of this country. Don't let things slide, everyone. Don't just sit back and go, oh, well, we've got to speak up. And I know there's some other YouTubers out there and that are speaking up at the moment. Big Chock and what's his name, Cowboy, and that veteran guy, I forget his name now, that Phil Taylor. There's some people really speaking up. They got to be careful how they speak. But if we're not happy with things, you've got to say something, everyone. You've got to say, if you're not happy with the way the country's going, and the way we can do it is have a vote. Go out and vote against what you don't agree with. Anyway, a Bundaberg ginger beer, that's the go. Doesn't get much more Aussie than that. A Bundaberg ginger beer, that's what I might get, Brian. 15 to go. No, Lukey, I'm going. I'm going to call it up. Let me know. Put a comment down once I get out of here. Did you enjoy today's live feed? There was a bit of a mixed bag there, everyone. Some emotional stuff there. I know a lot of people out there seeing that bloody ramp ceremony. I get a lump in my throat and I got to choke back, bloody hold back tears and that. I get very, very emotional when I see shit like that. And I just wanted, I think you needed to see it. It's why burning the Australian national flag, I think, should be an offence. And the fact that we had politicians, the majority of politicians, MPs and senators voted that it's okay to burn that flag is putrid. Nothing short of putrid. Put it down in the comments. If you disagree with me, guys, put it in the comments. Mike, all the best, mate. Good luck to the Broncos. Sid Archie, Aussie. Hope you're good. The Grubberman. Yeah, the Grubberman, all right. Yeah, so anyway, what about this bloody peace, Trumpy's peace thing for Gaza? See all the Western leaders, even Albo, just staying out of that shit. Staying out of that, yeah. Albo needs to, I said that when he first got in, Albo needs to sit back and just keep a low profile, because in a couple of years he won't be around and they won't have to deal with him. He's got all the Western leaders offside, hasn't he? He really has. Buck 4 T-bones, $82. My God. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, eh? Beef and lamb and all that should be, I have to buy some lamb chops. Tell you what I had the other day. Crumb lamb cutlets. They were $29 a kilo. They're normally 40-something. I saw them in the Babinda Butcher at $29 a kilo for crumb lamb cutlets. So I went, that's me. Can't afford to eat lamb in this country anymore. One of the leading sheep producers in the world, and the price of lamb's like gold. So I thought, I'm getting a kilo. So I come out and said, Roz, I got lamb cutlets. And she said, how much did you pay for them? I said, $29, which isn't too bad. And they're bloody beautiful. Roz cooked them up, shallow fried them. We had them with some mash, I think, from memory. Bit of mash and gravy. Bloody beautiful. Crumb lamb cutlets. Doesn't get much more Aussie than that, does it? So anyway, enjoy Australia Day tomorrow. I'm going to go and zip tie. Speaking of zip ties, I'm glad I said that. I got these off eBay. Look at these new zip ties I've got. You can't get them at the hardware. You get them on eBay. So if you got things on your car and you like your mud flaps and that, instead of trying to zip tie them, these zip ties, they've got that one there. So you put it through the hole and that holds on that side. And then what you do is you get this little cap and you push it over like that. So that's on the inside, and that rounded cap is what you'll see on the outside, and then you just snip that off. So it's a nice, so that bit there, that long bit, that holds on the inside, and then you just put the cap over, and then you snip it off flush. And it's a nice neat. So I'm going to go and I had to pull the guards out to try and find that rattle in my car, and I've done a dodgy zip. So I ordered these things. So I'm going to go out and replace all those dodgy zip ties with those things. So I forgot what they're called now, but they're a bloody brilliant idea. They're a zip tie with a plastic cap that goes over for putting on your mud flaps and anything like that. Really, really good on eBay. They are, everyone. Cheap as chips. Righto, enjoy your Aussie day tomorrow. Make sure you put a comment down if you agree with me or disagree. I hope you agree with me on a lot of stuff, everyone. I'm sure you do. And I think we can all agree that the price of meat in this country is too expensive. See you later. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you again next Sunday, maybe. See you later. Happy Australia Day, everyone.